Buy things at websites.com. Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome to our Daily Gun Show. Come be live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns for an hour. So maybe not every night, but almost every night. Every night except for 2 nights out of 1,227, 30? Yeah, something like 1,030 episodes and counting. And Friday night, it is July 17th. So we can jump over to the calendar here. I think we do have one, the calendar event that happened today that, dang it, I missed one of them. All right, well, we got 2 things that happened today. First one is the Militia Act 1862, which is right before, what was after emancipation? I think it was after emancipation, like during the Civil War, or after the Civil War. I did some research on it earlier, and now I can't remember. Then we have, I guess I missed this one, Browning signs with FN. So this is back in 1897. Made a .32 caliber pistol with them, and that started a relationship that would last for a long time. In fact, he died in FN's factory. So, well, his factory is workshop at FN. All right, so that's our calendar. Try to keep things on the calendar that are interesting for Second Amendment. See if anybody shows up. We're being heavily Qwarked tonight. It's Friday. A lot of people try to get in on the Friday money. A lot of Friday money out there. So I'm actually still working on taxes and stuff. So this was meant to stop a streak of missing shows here for a week. See if anybody shows up. And since nobody's here, I'm just going to go ahead and start doing some work. Since I can't take a break from work, I can only take a break from doing taxes. All right, so I already did Wool Rock. Let's see what else do we got on here. Texas Ranger Museum, we did that one. Jonathan Browning did that one. Cowboy Museum did that one. I'm not really happy with it. Not happy with it. Fuller did that one. Rock Island. The Bushes of Rock Island. There's Rock Island, did that one. Smithsonian. Haven't done that one yet. 45th Infantry Museum has been did. So we're going to go to this, and I'll just take that layer, name, and paste it with a C for color. Paste it with an L for lines. Unlock this layer, go in here and take that. Oh, I don't want to crop it. Instead, copy that. Paste it. Take that one that we just pasted here and drop it down like that. And then we'll lock that layer so we can't mess with it. Go back to this layer that we're going to put lines on. So this is where the guns are. Smithsonian. So I'm going to use the line tool, and I'm going to tell the fill to not exist, and we'll tell just the stroke or the edges to exist. And they're going to be black. Barbecues out there. Good evening. And let's see, drop a link up there. Oops. That was weird. Copy. Paste. you have a show tonight? I did not see if you had a show out there tonight. At least I didn't see it go live. All right, so now we go back to getting that line going. This kind of stuff isn't so tough. You can do pretty much all of this with the Alt key. Alt key is what gets me zooming in like this. Then the Control key is what gets me left and right like this. And then up and down is the same scroll without touching any keys. So then Enter is what stops a line, and clicking is what starts a line. So I can zoom out a little bit, get over here, zoom out a little bit, start that line, zoom over here, in that line, hit Enter. So I'm basically just hitting 3 keys and hitting the mouse to do most all of this type of stuff. I find for some of this stuff, if you don't actually touch the lines, it gives it more like, I don't know, something like it just doesn't look as much like a blueprint or something. Some of these you're not going to touch the ground because you want to leave room for that bush or whatever. Like there's a flagpole right there, but I think the line of the building wins against a telephone pole or whatever that was. Now this line is behind a tree, but I'm going to draw that tree up on top of a different layer. I don't know where these layers are, so I'm guessing right here. It's pretty big. Look how much bigger these little panels get as you get closer to the edge to us. That's a big building. You don't realize it. That's a massive, what's that called? Proportion? Push or force proportion? Where it is. Good evening. How's it going in Virginia today?
Good. Getting ready to head out to New York. So.
For work?
No, I'm gonna go see my niece.
Oh, right on. How's she doing?
As good as to be expected, I guess.
Well, I guess the lack of bad news is good, right?
Yeah, I guess you can say that.
But yeah, that's good. You're able to go up there and check her out.
Yeah,
She's
so
still laid up. She's like in a hospital, or is she at a home?
she's at home, but she can't really do very much. She's so exhausted from everything that it's just she can't really do much, unfortunately. So we are going to go try to cheer her up a little bit. She's going to be coming back and forth to DC.
She normally live in New York, or is she just there for all this?
No, she lives in New York. The treatment's actually that she's going to be getting is actually in DC. So I guess that's a good thing. Okay,
Yeah,
place to stay and stuff. So yeah, man. I'm just enjoying your show here.
Yeah, I'm just taking a break from doing my taxes late.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody's. Oh, there's barbecue. I've just been in what do you call like not tax software, doing my books really, and then I haven't even gotten to the tax part, but I've been doing the books or whatever. So I've just been in that kind of software for so long that I'm just sick of looking at numbers. I want to do something else for a minute.
Yeah, man. I need to talk to you about like the like Kindle on demand. That.
Oh yeah,
I think
about all that. I've got a couple that books I've got in mind, but my concern was just getting them up there and that kind of thing.
I am more than willing to help you with that.
Yeah, right on. So when you did this one, is it something that you had already thought about, and then you're like, well, let me just put it into play, or was it completely starting from scratch?
I started and had it done within like a day or two.
But I mean, it wasn't like you had 30% of it already done at another time and you just finished it. You did the whole from zero.
I did it all. Yeah. I have my other book, which was going to be. This is actually going to be the second book that I've been doing, but this one's a little bit easier to get done. and the other one I'm still gathering a lot of research on. So that one's not until November. So might as well just get this one done, right?
And then you did it with Kindle, and you're saying they've got some sort of a deal where you get paid by how many pages? So what? There's must be ads on the pages with your book or something?
No, you have two different choices. You get the paperback, which is like I sell for like $19.95. The Kindle edition is like $9.95. But if you have Kindle Unlimited, then subscribers to Kindle get that for free to read for free.
So
Kindle
then,
Unlimited is like a $15 a month program that they charge for.
okay. So then, does Kindle pay you when somebody from Kindle Unlimited like uses it or reads it or whatever?
Correct, per page, and it can add up a lot.
Oh, that's where. Okay. So that makes sense because they're paying $15 for their subscription, and Kindle isn't going to just give you full whatever. So they throttle it by doing it per page or whatever.
Yeah, but it ends up actually being more if someone in Kindle Unlimited reads the whole thing.
Right on. That's cool.
It'll end up being
kind of prorated. If they just thumb through it, you're still getting something where normally you would just get like a fraction of a cent for something.
Yeah. I mean, if they read the whole thing, it'll be like $15 or so.
And then otherwise, it would be like $9 if they just bought it or something.
Yeah. So, but that's like a subscription service. So.
And then what was the paperback? Like it was $19, but you get 9 of that still, so they're able to make it for $10 on demand.
Yeah. I mean, about 9. Actually, it's a little bit more because I get 70%.
Okay, so it's not so much like Spreadshirt. You say, doesn't matter what the shirt costs, but you just tell Spreadshirt, I want to make $5 on this, and then,
No. They have a fixed. They have 35% and 40% and 70%. They actually ship it out to like bookstores and stuff, and whatever they sell to bookstores, whenever you get 40% of that. But if someone buys that on Amazon, you get 70%. You can buy all copies. It costs them $2 per book to print.
Oh, okay. So then that's all kinds of good stuff. So then if like a bookstore decides, oh, this book is hot, or we just for some reason want it, they can buy it. And then, like you said, you're still going to get a cut. That's pretty freaking neat that bookstores can buy it.
So let's say like Barnes & Noble comes in or Books A Million and they say, oh, we want to put it in, we want to order 1,000 copies for our store. You get 40% of that 1,000, which...
Yeah.
Or libraries too. Libraries buy from Amazon. And,
well, a school or something, if you write the right kind of book, like a school or something.
Yeah,
or
school.
Any type of organization might, if you write the right kind of book, might buy multiple copies of a manual or something.
Yeah.
Right?
The reason why you get 40%, they explain it, you get 40% of retail. So if it's a $19.95 book, you still get 40% of retail, but they're selling it to them at cheaper than that. That's why you get 40% instead of 70% if like it's a bookstore, because they have because Amazon sells it to them at like 30% less. So
yeah, they got to make money, but you're also selling a whole bunch of books and getting all that reach. So
yeah, I mean, I haven't had that, but
well, no, but I mean the possibility. I thought it was really just like throwing it in the basement. Like, yeah, it's technically a book, but no one's ever going to see it. That gives me hope that somebody goes through and puts the effort in making a book, then yeah, it could definitely be the beginning of something, right?
Yeah, because it can go out to a bunch of different stores. It's pretty neat. It's pretty painless.
And then what is it? Is it like when I have an Amazon store, which I don't really use too much. I just wanted to get familiar with being on Amazon and stuff, like the patches and other stuff, like the cards and stuff that I do. But with the store, it's kind of a Well, I was going to say it's a whole other thing, but when you get paid on the store, I don't know if there's a different way to do it, but I only get paid like whatever it is, like maybe it beats a threshold, or maybe it's every other month or something. But I don't make any money on it, so I don't really ever see anything come through there. But
Yeah.
when you're doing it this way, can you just go in there and it's like, cash out, or do you have to wait for them to send you a check?
It pays out once a month.
Okay, so they're gonna pay you. It's not like you just got a fund that you can go pull from or whatever.
No, it pays out like once a month.
That's cool though. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I was just wondering for your specific situation, it'd be nice if they let you pull it out. Like if 6 books sold, you could just go grab that and throw it.
No, we're gonna front whatever, like whatever we fill right now, we're gonna front. We're gonna check. I did something with Guns and Gadgets, which was amazing. We raised $1,100 in 30 minutes with Guns and Gadgets, which was
really on that live chat.
Yeah. Then I went on Hank's show and we raised a bunch of money through there too. So it's been pretty good. The 2A community have really came out. I mean, it breaks not breaks my heart. It puts like love in my heart because the 2A community have really backed me. For a long time, I wondered, it's like, hey man, if something ever happens, I mean, I do a lot for the 2A community. I wonder what would happen if I needed the 2A community, would they be there for me? And I wasn't really sure, to tell you the truth. But now I know, yeah, the 2A community have really came out and helped me. So, I almost went into tears thinking about how, like, I saw people that I've never interacted with in the 2A community posting links in my book saying, hey, you guys got to buy this, and links to my niece's GoFundMe, Then I get tagged and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. So, yeah. I don't mean to get all like emotional, but it's a good feeling.
I imagine.
Yeah. Like even like Rob Pincus just now put the link to my book in his like bio on Instagram, and it looks like Hank Strange just did the same thing too. I don't know, man. It's amazing, though. I want to thank everyone out there.
Well, there's just the 3 of us tonight, so.
I know, but I'm not just talk about like the people who are like watching or anything like that right now. I'm just talking about like everyone. Just like looking through, it's just like blown away.
Yep, there's a lot of power when you got 360 million people just touching, areas of it. Massive power.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't do a show tonight. I have diverticulitis.
Huh?
So I've been like laid up all day.
What happened?
I got diverticulitis.
I have no idea.
It's an infection in your lower intestines. It's not fun.
Are they going to have to do any surgery for that, or do they think they can get you squared away with antibiotics?
So I'm on like 2 different antibiotics. I don't know. This is like the 3rd time I have it. I've had it in like the last few months. So I don't know. I got to go to a GI doctor and then they'll decide from there. But
Hopefully
I can't go. What's that?
I was going to say, hopefully they can get you all squared away with
antibiotics
instead of surgery.
Yeah, but once you get it at a certain number of times, then they just usually more than twice they usually do. And I've had it 3 times, so that's not fun, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, then they just go in and cut out that bad section and hope that fixes it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. Right now, there's too much. I feel like Skynet's gonna come out next month or something. I don't know. But hey, G-Web and Guns and Barbecue, are you guys into cars at all?
I like them. It depends on what you're talking about. I'm not a huge gearhead or anything, but going to car shows, stuff like that, I used to like doing that.
Wait, because in around my area, there's been they have two electric Mustangs in my area. I guess they're testing.
I've heard about those, but as
No,
far as any
they don't.
specs or anything, I don't know diddly.
They don't look good.
No?
No, they don't look like sports cars. They look like freaking like crossovers.
Oh. What I would like to find one day would be, just to see it in person, would be one of those old Mustang station wagons that they made.
Well, this one's kind of like a Mustang station wagon.
It's like what the Dodge Magnum's ugly twin sister.
Yeah, basically. They
Yeah.
look like a BMW like X3. Let me see if G-Webs will let me share my screen really quick. If not, that's cool. I just want to throw this up there so people can see it. G-Webs, are you there? There it is. What do you think of that as a Mustang, electric Mustang?
It looks like a Dodge Magnum had sex with a VW Beetle, and they just put a Mustang logo on it.
Yeah, G-Webs, what do you think of the new Mustang, the electric Mustang that they're testing out in my area?
Doesn't really look like a Mustang too much.
No, it doesn't, right? Do you notice something? There's count how many doors there are.
Did they ever make a four-door Mustang?
No.
No, I think the four-door Mustang was actually the Falcon.
Because I'm thinking there was, like that 70 something kind of. Maybe I'm thinking of the fastback or something, or maybe I'm thinking what you're talking about.
Yeah, they had a fastback, but they never had that. I mean, that doesn't look like a Mustang at all. Why don't they just make it and call it something else? I think they ruined the Mustang logo with that.
Do they make these things like? Isn't the what's that thing called, the Tesla? Is it called like a unibody, where it's just the frame is the frame, or the body is the frame?
Yeah, almost everything is unibody now.
So that's how this car is.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't like it. I think it ruins the whole Mustang badge.
I'm curious if they did it for aerodynamics. I'm not quite sure how that shaping would be helping the aerodynamics, but then I'm thinking more so it's probably, since it's electric, is probably something to do with the batteries.
Whatever stuff I'll watch about cars, it'll be about Tesla, because I don't really watch nothing about cars, but I've seen stuff about Tesla talking about the whatever things he's doing, and they're saying that whatever you call it, a crossover, is what people want now. Like, that's why there's no station wagons, there's no minivans. This is what people want. So they're probably making it what people want, but then I guess they figure if they put Mustang on it, people will dig that.
I don't know. I think it's a mistake.
Oh, here's another idea. Do you think that they're going with this to try and compete with that Porsche SUV crossover thing? I don't remember what the heck that's called, though.
The Cayenne?
Is it the Cayenne? I say, because I remember Porsche had made a crossover SUV style vehicle. It's like, because I thought the Cayenne was just
no, it's the Cayenne. It's the Cayenne.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I wonder if they're trying to compete with that maybe.
I don't know, man. I think those are two different market segments. Porsche people don't really buy Mustangs. Mustang people don't really buy Porsches. So I have no idea what market segment they're going for with a Mustang on a freaking electric crossover. But I think a lot of the Mustang people are going to be upset because it kind of ruins the brand a little bit.
When's the last time they even made a Mustang?
They make them. They've made a Mustang every year since 1964.
Oh, so it's still a current car?
Yeah. Yeah, it's still a current car.
Yeah, they got into those 5.0s, which there's actually a cult following for those box bodies. Then you get into the mid 90s and early 2000s and whatever the heck they were doing with those body styles. Then I say nobody really cares. And then mid 2000s they really got aggressive with it again and were making some really good looking cars. But recently they seem to be dropping the ball again.
No, I like the current. I'll throw up a current one on here. Let me just stop sharing my screen here. Let me just put up this one. This is a current Mustang G-Web. I just want to see if you what you think compared to what you just saw.
Yeah, that looks more like a Mustang, I guess. I don't know if I don't really pay attention to the cars that much. So.
Yeah, but
I knew they looked something like that nowadays.
Yeah, they go from that to the other thing.
That one I don't mind so much. That's got more of almost like a Boss 302 styling, it seems.
Yeah, that's their EcoBoost. That's their turbocharged 4-cylinder, which I don't like either, but because it's Mustang. And this is if I wanted to get a Mustang, this is what I would get. Let me show you this one. This one, I think you would like G-Webs. This is their top of the line Mustang. Let me see. EcoBoost. Yeah, this is their GT500 Mustang right here.
Yeah, it looks cool or whatever, but I would never have a car. I might rent it, I guess. Will I even fit in it?
Did that? Yeah, those are actually pretty roomy. So I'm pretty sure you would fit into that Mustang. Like a Porsche or something like that, maybe not.
I had an El Camino, so that's about the closest thing to performance I ever had because I could still use it, So.
And the El Camino is badass. I like the El Caminos.
Yeah, I'm a big fan back in the day. But then as soon as I got a truck, I had a Ranger when I was a little kid, and that was fine, for just playing around or whatever, doing stupid shit. And then got the El Camino, and then got a real truck, like a full-size truck, and then never went back to a car.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the car I have.
I like to be able to, do stuff, be able to use it for something or whatever.
Yeah, I have a G70 right now.
Yeah, I don't have any idea what car it is.
This, Yeah, I'll show you the car that I have. This is not my car, but it looks like my car. It's almost the identical to my car. And then I will let you guys get to it because I gotta get to sleep.
Driving up there tomorrow?
Yeah. Yep. Driving up the coast. Just what the hell? Oh, right here. That's basically what my car looks like.
Yeah. I've seen it on Instagram or whatever when you post it.
Yeah, I love it. It's a little twin turbo. Some little nice modifications I made to it. So right now I'm pushing to the wheels around 635 horses to the wheels. So it's probably around like 720-ish, 730-ish to the crank.
Yeah, that's all Greek to me. I know by miles per hour or whatever, not miles per hour.
No horsepower. It's very it's a lot that I push into it. Yeah. So I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll give you back your screen, G-Web. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just figured I would bring some. What are you doing here anyway?
Oh, I'm just taking a break from doing taxes, and this is the Smithsonian. Well, wherever the Smithsonian guns are that aren't on display. This is the, I don't know what they call it, the vault or whatever, like the hidden storage that they don't let us look at.
Oh yeah. This is I know where this is.
Where is this at compared to like downtown DC where all the monuments and stuff are?
Very close.
Okay. Well, you can't go in here, so you can go up next to it, I guess, but not in it.
Yeah.
And I guess if I did my whatever, if I'm reading the right address or whatever, this is where, like I say, when I was a little kid, I went to Washington D.C., seeing the Smithsonian, and they had, I don't know, it was like an entire floor, and it was just a lot of guns. It was not as much as Dam Davis or nothing, but it was probably 3,000 guns, easy, out on display. And they bored the shit out of me because I was a little kid, and they all looked like flintlocks, right? And I had just been like, what we call like touring Civil War battlefields on the way there, so I wasn't personally all that interested, but I knew what I saw. And then years later, I went back there, and all that stuff's gone. They had like literally like 5 guns out there, like a flintlock, an M16, a Garand, and like a 1911. It was horrible. And asked around and couldn't find out. And then now I find out that they have them. They still exist. A lot of them they gave to different museums, I guess, or some of them. But
Yeah, they lend them out.
the remainder are in here. So that's as close as we'll get to them. But anyway, so it's from my 50 State to 2A book that I'm making pictures, and I got the cartoons or whatever. So
Have you ever seen what the actual vault door looks like?
at the Smithsonian? No.
Yeah, I got a picture of it if you want to see it.
Yeah.
Again, right up. This is like. Let me just share, open an image in new tab. So once you get in there, right? My aunt used to be a director at the Smithsonian. So I used to get like a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
Can they still get in there?
I can't get in there now. She retired.
Oh snap! Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Is that just the guns, or is that like all their expensive stuff?
that's all the expensive stuff. When you go in, that's you got to go through. So it's not like a regular. You go in the building, and all of a sudden you got this like massive door. It's like fireproof and everything because if the building burns down, the bunch of priceless stuff.
Yeah, it's literally national treasures and shit.
Yeah, so everything is like locked. It's 1.5 tons, which is insane.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And all the buildings are connected by tunnels.
Yeah, I heard of that before. I think everything in DC is right. Like, so the police and shit can get around real quick and not have to worry about somebody blocking streets or nothing.
Yeah, but it also, with the Smithsonian, since they transport like very, very valuable stuff, that they want to be able to transport it without having to go over roads where people can like heist it, I guess.
Yeah, and never even know that it's being moved. Especially
Yeah.
when they change displays around and stuff, or like move something priceless, like you're saying. Like
Yeah.
no one ever knows that it's being moved unless you're associated with the move or something, I suppose.
Yeah, like if they wanted to move some of the Rembrandts or some of the like the Hope Diamond, for example. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Like back in the day, that would take like a motorcade and then like all kinds of shit from a movie.
or Declaration of Independence.
Nowadays, you just put it in the cart and try to get over underneath of everybody.
Yeah, so you don't know that they're moving. It's a pretty cool system. The tunnels are just massive. I used to get to go to all this like Smithsonian stuff. I met like Stephen Hawking,
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
for example, and a bunch of. I used to go to a bunch of physics stuff, but yeah, some famous authors. It was pretty cool. Like Jim Hansen.
Muppet guy.
Yeah. So they have a bunch of different. These have a bunch of different talks, and I used to be able to go and give like for like their high dollar like meet and greet for like their like high dollar donors, like $1 million plus donors. So I used to be able to go to those stuff, which was kind of cool.
I've been to like fancy shit, but nothing super fancy.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I just got in there because my aunt, but but she used to give me like these tickets to all these different things. It was kind of cool. But once she retired, that all ended.
I haven't done the luxury center yet. So do this one. Looks like I got set to do this one. Or did I do this one? No, I did do this one. I remember doing this one. Must have done these in my sleep.
I do have a when she retired, they gave her like a Louis Armstrong thing that was hanging in the Smithsonian.
That's kind of cool.
It's now in my basement. It's hanging up in my basement.
Like a picture or what?
Yeah, it was like one of the posters from when he did his thing. You know, when he was like touring. So they framed it and gave it to her. And I have it in my basement. She gave it to me. Because she knew I would appreciate it.
You the only one, or did she have to decide?
No, I mean, we have tons of cousins. I'm her godson now.
So you got the first in line type of thing.
Yeah. Plus, I'm really into art and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's one of those things. You give something to somebody because it's cool, but if they don't appreciate it, then how cool is it, right? They're just going to sit there, put it in the closet. That's different than somebody who's going to put it in the living room.
exactly. It's on one of my walls that are dedicated to like the arts downstairs. See, G-Webs, I'm a Renaissance man.
It's the way to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really funny. I found out for in my book, I interviewed Owen York. He's a famous artist, and I noticed like his stuff is the guns are like accurate, right? Because he paints a lot of stuff. I mean, he's not like a firearms artist, but some of the like stuff, it's a guy is like there's like a Walther PPK firing, and another one there's somebody holding like a P30 and stuff like that in his artwork, and so it's just not this like generic guns, right?
Too
So
accurate to be just somebody who painted a pistol.
yeah. So I wrote him. I was like, I noticed your guns are like whenever you use guns in your art, it's they're really accurate. And he's like because I'm a gun guy. So I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I support the Second Amendment. I do all this stuff. I donate to all these groups. I'm a member of GOA, a member of this group. So then I interviewed him about guns and stuff because he's like an avid shooter.
That's pretty cool.
But his like a lot of his clients are like really liberal, so they don't realize,
Yeah, well, whatever. They're not realizing that they're getting an actual whatever version of a gun, but to them it's just whatever money that's going to be worth more.
I just thought it was kind of cool. Look at their art of like this is they've done they're not like the generic guns that you see. Like the serrations on some of the guns are accurate. And I kind of figured because like the serrations are accurate, so it can't be
just random.
Yeah. And like on one of the things you can see like the Walter logo a little bit on it.
Well, there's also like the possibility that somebody is just, even though they're like unaware, but they're just like super, what's the word, like attention to detail or whatever.
Well,
So
yeah, that's why I contacted them.
Yeah, that's cool.
I wanted to find out if that was the case or not.
Definitely cooler to find out that he's doing it intentionally, or intentionally because he cares instead of intentionally because he's just able to be accurate.
Yeah, no, he wants to display accurate guns, and he's a big gun guy, 2A supporter. So it was my podcast a while ago.
I don't watch everything, so if it wasn't like a 2A dude, I might have not even bothered.
Well, if you get a chance, go back and like look because
what's the name again?
Owen York. Because he's not. You probably didn't see him because you probably felt over an artist. But the whole podcast was about guns. So you might actually get a kick out of it. It's really funny because he knew who I was, which was like, which surprised me. So since he knew who I was, I knew he wasn't like just BSing me, He was like, yeah, I wrote him, but just to send me an Instagram message. He was like, oh yeah, I read your stuff on Ammoland all the time. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Didn't expect that, but well, what can you do, right?
Well, you're gonna find more and more of that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, since we're chatting, I need to get with you before the 2A patchback thing going. So if you can help me get a thing out of Ammoland, I try sooner than later so that it's still got a little time to cook after it goes out.
I can do it. I can get it up. I got my outdoor magazine article I got to do on Monday. By Monday.
Well, I'm working on my taxes here. I'm supposed to be working on my taxes, but I'll take a break from that and write something up so you don't have to do the whole thing yourself or whatever.
Yeah, just send me some information. I mean, I got a lot of information I can write up. I'll get with you.
I want to kind of let the practice of making it into a press release, just because then I'm going to take that and use it around. Try to get
I'll write the press release for you.
Yeah, right on.
If you want. I mean, I'm pretty damn good at that. It's the least I can do to help out the calls.
Because it's last time I looked or whatever, it was still at like 60, and it's still got 10 days or 9 days or something, so it's not like over, but it's also not a given, like it isn't over already. So, ladies,
let me try to get it. I can probably try to get it knocked out by on Tuesday. I'm just so backed up right now with work and traveling, and tomorrow's my son's 7th birthday, so I'm not doing anything tomorrow.
Good.
Besides, we're going to have a birthday party for him up in New York when we get up there. But other than that, I can probably help you out a little bit on Tuesday or something like that. Get something knocked out, written up for you. Then I'll get it ran on Ammoland. Or if you want to write something up and give it to me, I'll just format it the correct way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So that you don't have to start from scratch or whatever, and then that way I'd still figure out what you keep on it.
Yeah, I do need one of the things that a lot of people miss on press releases. Press releases always needs a like a quote. So Ammoland is the world's largest Second Amendment website with 5 million readers a month. We are the only gun site in the top 1,000 websites in the world.
So it started out as, I think, what do they call it? What do they call it? Where you put, like people would say, I found this ammo cheap or something, and they'd post it, and then other people would say, like, I verified that or whatever, or like they're gone now, or it's empty, right? It started out something like that, where it wasn't really trading, but it was like,
it was more industry news.
And then it started being a blog, and it's a blog now. I don't know.
Now they have offices in Florida, New Jersey, and Colorado.
Basically, it's a blog. It's an online blog, is the easiest way to say it. But like you said, it's been around for a while, and it's large. So they're not. There's nothing that everybody reads, right? But it's something that's been around. Looks like they've been solid since 2010.
Yeah, we have over 5 million readers
A month.
Yeah, some of my articles, like I have like a couple articles that have like 300,000 shares. Not views, but shares. It's pretty good.
There was back then. Oh, here they got some on here. They got the gun trust lawyer. So that one was a thing. Box of Truth was a thing back in the day. Pro Gun Resources, got those. They're not going to talk about the people that were out there that were, I guess, in competition with them, you could say. But there were, like this one, I would say, like you say, that this one's more like industry oriented, but not necessarily. It's like for somebody who's in the industry to read it. It's not designed for somebody who, like, I have a general interest in revolvers, but it's more for like, I own a gun shop or something.
Yeah, that's what it used to be.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's when it was that, and then there was other blogs at the time that were like military or hunting. Like this one, it might talk about hunting, but it wasn't like every day you're going to find out about hunting. This one was more like general gun and then industry. Yeah. So whenever SHOT Show would happen, there'd be that kind of, that kind of coverage. But if it was like elk season, you wouldn't know it from this blog. You'd go to another blog and you wouldn't know SHOT Show was happening. And then you'd go to like other blogs and you'd know about international. Like this was one of the bigger ones. Well, it's always been one of the bigger ones for like general U.S. gun industry stuff.
Yeah, now it's like it is the biggest one, which is crazy. We like senators contact us. You know, we have Chuck Norris writing for us. I mean, for Chuck Norris to write from us, it's kind of cool.
Well, I guess Box of Truth worked for Ammoland. Interesting. 2009. You ever see boxoftruth.com? Is he still there?
I don't think no, I don't think so.
Back in the old forum days, so like pre-2008, let's say, before YouTube was a thing at all, and it was just the big forums. This guy was a website. He was on the forums, and then he, instead of trying to always post his pictures on just one forum, he started putting on his own website. So he was one of the first to just do that. It looks like now it's his own forum, but back in the day, it was just some guy who had like a yard that he could do it, and he would put up like, I don't know, drywall, piece of 2x4 drywall, right? Like, and then shoot through it, and then everybody look at the pictures and go, and then he would put up like drywall, piece of plywood, 2x4 drywall. You know, he would just do different combinations of shit.
Yeah.
In that box, and then he would shoot it, and that was the Box of Truth. He'd be like, you know, it was sort of like watching one of these people that do gelatin tests now, but he was not just testing the ammo; he was also testing like the effectiveness against like basically a shot. You know, if you miss somebody, is it going to go through your house type of shit, or if you hit your house, is it going to go outside your house or something like that? And I don't remember if I think he might have even done car doors and shit. For a while there, he was actually, you know, really putting effort into it. And the surprising thing was this is before YouTube or before any kind of real sponsorship, unless he had like a direct sponsorship, which I don't think he did because he would have been hawking whatever the item was, right? But he put a lot of effort into it. It was just a project, a hobby. So I guess at some point he became one of the writers for Ammoland.
Yeah, I mean, we have a like a lot of good people who came through and written for Ammoland. If you go down to at the bottom of the website, there's an all contributors tag, and you can see who writes for Ammoland currently and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Never heard of them. It's Alan Corwin, R.W. Hawkins, C.W.R. Hawkins, whatever. I don't know who Bob Harvey is. Bob Shell, don't know. Chris Cox, Dan Zimmerman, radio guy, right? David Codre, radio guy? David Limbaugh, no idea. Dave, somebody don't know.
Weingartner. He was at Dean Weingartner. Dean was at the 2A rally.
Okay. Jeff. I'm just seeing who all I know on this list or what. I don't know a lot of these people.
Michelle Malkin's pretty big.
She's a news person, or
yeah.
She's on the news. Yeah, I've seen her. I don't know what she does other than speak on the news, though. Is she like a conservative news person?
Yeah. You have Alan Gottlieb, right?
Well, she does shooting sports, so she must be a shooter too.
Yeah. Alan Gottlieb, he's pretty big.
Rob Morse.
Rob Morse is one of our writers.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris. Dave Workman, he writes some really good stuff.
Well, he's been around for a while.
Graham Bates. Pretty cool too.
This dude.
Rob Pincus.
Oh, no. This guy is. Wonder who this guy is. Is that dude's dad? He's retired after the gun store in Las Vegas. Oh, no, okay. This guy is. That's cool.
Yeah. Also, like Eric Pratt writes every once in a while. Or Ammoland. He's not up there, but yeah, Eric Pratt has some articles up there.
Logan. Pat Buchanan. It's that politician.
Yep.
So that's the reason I don't know some of these people. They're not all gun people. There are other people as well.
No. Yeah, there's other people. Thomas Sowell is really big. Thomas Sowell is like huge. Yeah, Thomas Sowell. Yeah, he's if you read some good books, he writes like incredible books.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what his deal was. I think
he's a black conservative.
Right, but he said something in like the '80s that pissed everybody off, and that was his thing. I think or he had a opinion on some court, or maybe like a Supreme Court justice nomination, or was he defending? So I don't remember his name coming up though, like maybe the late '80s, early '90s, or something.
Yeah, he was like he's done spoken out a lot on issues. But it's
There's them talking about Chuck Norris back in 2014.
Yeah, I mean he came on early-ish, I should say.
He's trying to take me back to old-fashioned Ammoland. Right, I'm just going to look. You can never tell on the way back. Sometimes the way back will change the links, and then sometimes it'll link to the brand new site or the current site.
Yeah.
I get to some time making every open. It's not like that. It's online and people actually read it. It's not just a bunch of sales hype.
No, but I mean, if you do get your stuff up there, a lot of times, like I did something for a small holster company, and it kind of like almost put him out of business because they didn't have it set to run out of stock, and I really liked his holsters, and like their order time went like months, and they ended up canceling a bunch of orders, and they ended up pissing off a lot of people because they were a small holster company. But now if I do something like that, I always tell them, hey, you better be prepared in case, you get a lot of traffic. Yeah. But I think I'm going to get off here. I'm tired. I need to go. We're leaving at like 6 a.m. tomorrow. So
yeah, get some rest.
And it's 1:15 a.m. now. So
Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, no problem, man. It was good talking. All right, later.
Talk later. Yeah, we don't get to jump in very often.
So, if you get close with the patch, will you extend it, or are you just gonna let it?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I don't want to
run its course.
We can, I guess. If it slowly trails in, then we're not going to watch everybody suffer. I'll just shut it off. If it, is a steady growth and it just doesn't have enough time, then of course, yeah, it's not like I'm to penalize anything. But if it's sitting right there and it's the same thing when it ends, then yeah, I guess what. But I'd say I don't think it'll do that. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I think it's doing okay. Or I think it's got the opportunity to do okay. I guess that's what he said. Been up to anything interesting over there?
Not a whole lot. I was actually kind of excited today. I did a video I got stuff in the mail from Clover for becoming a patron of his and all that, and he had included a couple of the Old West playing cards, just 2 random ones. And one of my subscribers asked, if how he could go about getting a whole deck. So I plugged you in the comments for him. He seems like he's more interested in the barbecue stuff, just happens to have an interest in guns. But I told him to check out your channels and go over to your websites, and specifically told him, there's other playing decks and all that. And so hopefully he'll be going and grabbing something off you.
Awesome. Thank you. I don't think anybody bought any cards. All there is states, and you bought the other AK, another one. So you've got like 3 or 4 now towards the 10. Pretty good odds.
Yeah. Let's say, well, I wasn't planning on all 3 of my kids being like, "Oh, I want one of those," and I wanted one for myself still. I was like, "Well, I'm just going to have 4 of these."
Appreciate it. Those I can throw you another one. I know you wanted the. Did anybody get your rifle ever?
No,
I thought you posted it. I haven't watched it though.
I haven't made a video hunting one down or trying to hunt one down or anything either. So
I thought you did.
no. That was for Rick.
Oh,
Trying
okay.
to get some swag drummed up for him.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought that was your thing. So, anyway, so I can get you a couple of the AKs. I've got those. So.
No, that's all right. You don't need to do that. I say, those are pretty big, awesome patches. I say, make sure you get those ones sold. But yeah, friggin', I remember when I got the first 2, and the kids are like, "I want those." I'm like, "Oh crap!" And then the toddler, he starts pointing and making noises. Like, "All right, you want one too?" I was like, "Well, I'll just go order a couple more." And
You gave an AK-47 to a baby?
heck yeah!
All right.
I say I start my kids young.
I guess that's all right.
Oh, that's what I'll try and do. I'll try and get him to hold the AK patch over his head like Wolverine, and I'll snap a photo. You can do whatever you please with it after that.
Baby Wolverine. We when these kids around here were little baby kids. I'm not going to talk about it. Yeah, but we did stuff that we probably shouldn't have. Putting guns in their hands. The moms weren't looking.
Yeah, say people get touchy about it, but in where I am, like I said before, we're really rural and things like that. Now, some people might get flinchy about it, but most, it's just somebody wants to start their kids young.
Also, when that kid grows up, then it's like, oh, I want to be able to like hold that gun. You'll be like, you already held that gun. You're a baby. You don't even remember.
I need to actually get my own actual AK. That's one thing that I do not have in my collection is a legitimate AK. And I've actually been eyeballing these ones that PSA is making.
I'm sure you're going to get different advice on that one.
Oh, I'm sure. From what I understand, they're supposed to be pretty darn good shooting rifles. I was actually just watching a video today from Coda Boy where he was shooting one, which I didn't even. I just saw that there was an AK. I couldn't read the description or anything, and then he says it's the PSA K-47. I was like, oh, cool, because I haven't tried to watch any videos on it, so that was convenient. But I'm kind of on the budget end as far as an AK would go. I don't need anything super awesome. So I figured a Century Arms import I'll probably be more than happy with.
Yeah, it's interesting. What exists, like what's possible, and what's like what's buy are two different things. So that's already becoming a thing, I'm sure. People understanding something's out there, but knowing that it's not for sale, nobody's selling there.
Yep. I also need to get around to picking up an SKS.
So, first of all, I was asking about them grips. I haven't left the house, so I don't know. They may have. I did get some sort of an alert that something showed up, but I'm still in the middle of doing stuff, so I haven't gone anywhere. I don't have any food, so I'll have to go out at some point. But I don't have money either, so it won't be anytime soon. It'll be whenever I make some money again. But the stuff that comes in the mail is being held, you can say. So it's not going anywhere. But I guess I could do those as a fundraiser, so I should go over and get them. This tomorrow, Saturday. I should be able to get them tomorrow.
So that package I sent you should actually be arriving tomorrow if it didn't already.
Like I say, I haven't. I did get an alert that something showed up, but that isn't. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is to those alerts because I don't normally get those alerts. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Sometimes it used to just be a thing, but now there's some, I don't know, maybe if it had a signature on it or something, like you have to, sometimes you have to sign for it. If it was something like that, maybe. But I have no idea. But like I said, except for this here, I haven't been doing anything except for numbers. So I noticed that, or I guess I jump onto Instagram every once in a while, fiddle with it. But aside from that, I don't really. I haven't been paying attention to much.
I say the return address. Okay, I thought I asked this before. Now I'm hoping that I did. The return address on the stuff that you would send me from your website store. That's the good address for you, right?
Yeah, that's our only address.
Oh, okay. Just because all of a sudden I was nervous. I was like, oh crap.
Now there's no way to. There's only one address. The only thing you can possibly do is find like an address from years and years and years ago if you looked on some really old thing, but everything's been this address for 10 years plus or something.
Oh, I gotcha. Also in there you'll find some bubble mailers and other things that you had sent me because I hold on to stuff like that in case I ever need to ship something. But so I just send them back to you if you want to, whenever I order stuff, just tape the top of them closed or something.
Right on.
That way,
those things, just FYI, they only cost like 10 cents, so don't worry too much.
I wasn't sure.
But on the other hand, they're still bubble wrap, so I'm cheap. I'm not going to throw them away either. So whenever I bust one, I'll tape one, there's like that, what do you call it? Self-adhesive shit on there. So you'll pull the strip off, you seal it, and then you remember you needed to throw something in there. And there's no way to really pull it apart, so you just break it. But what I'll do is I'll just keep those in a stack, the ones that are broken or whatever, that I had to rip into, and just use them as bubble wrap. I just either, for some things, you just put them in there, and it's perfect, right? Like a watch or something, you just put them in there, and then there's no label or nothing on it. Or even if there is, like you say, if you're putting in something else, who cares? So yeah, I appreciate it. It's not like it's that big of money, but it doesn't cost nothing to put it on a shelf either.
Exactly. And I figured worst case scenario is you got it and you'd be like, oh, he sent me his garbage bag.
I'm cheap, so I'm all down with that.
But yeah, no, that's the exact thinking I have is, use them as bubble wrap. Depending on if I have to ship something out and I can just, fold it in half and tape it shut and whatnot. Things like that. But
they don't cost much. I just buy them on eBay, a whole bunch at a time. So usually if I've got a patch batch, right, I'll buy a bunch of them for that. And then, they'll cost, I don't know, $70 or, not even $100. They'll be like $60 or something. And there's no reason to do this because unless you're shipping a lot of stuff, it's just waste. But you'll have, it's like a giant box that's half the size of a refrigerator full of them. So,
oh wow,
they don't cost much, but like I say, they're not like the paper ones get all gross after a while, but these plastic ones, I kind of use them because I figure there's got to be other cheap bastards like me out there that when they get them, they're like, unless it's got blood on it or something, you're going to be like, okay, I'll just use this again, turn it inside out, right, and tape it back up, or just use it inside of another thing as bubble wrap, as like filler. So I figure, if I get the plastic one and people do that, then that's cooler and cheaper. I think it's about the same price for buying paper, the kind that's paper with the bubbles in it.
Yep.
But I figure the paper with the bubbles in it has a lifespan. Like it's only going to last so long, and then it's not good anymore. Where this stuff, like I say, unless it gets gross on it, it's fine.
Yeah.
But that's why I talk about garbage. Basically. But on the other hand, what the hell? I'd rather talk about that than other boring shit sometimes. I've only been barely watching any live shows and like mostly just listening to music and stuff because I can't really watch TV or watch a movie or not. Doing taxes, it's too much. I need to look over there instead of looking at numbers.
Yep.
But I was just saying, talking about trash is better than not talking also. Let's see. PSA's made some improvements. I don't really hate PSA and I don't love PSA. I'm totally indifferent. I understand that there's people that care a lot, one way or the other. I don't hate them. I don't like them. I like them. I mean, they're interesting. I've been interested in PSA since the first time I went to SHOT Show because their display, their booth, they've always, I don't want to say they take pride in their booth, but because they have so much stuff, their booth is big, right? Like they're not trying, they're not like going out of their way to be fancy or nothing. But in order to just do what they are, their booth is pretty big. And then it's because I'm aware of it, I started going to SHOT Show interested in AK stuff, and they were one of the few people back in 2004 and 5 doing AK stuff. So I've been aware of them all that time. So but I've also been around them. Oh, I'm thinking a Century now. No, I'm thinking a Century. I just completely mixed them up with Century. PSA has only been around for I'm totally thinking of Century now. I'm trying to think now where the hell the PSA booth even is. Where's the PSA booth? Must have seen it. Shit, I can't even think where it is. Nope, I was totally thinking of the other one the whole time. PSA came out of nowhere and just started impressing the shit out of people that never owned any real guns. So until I see people that own a shit ton of old guns go, oh man, these PSAs are the shit. Then it's just a bunch of people that have nothing to compare it to, I guess is the word, right? Like, so of course it's going to be the most awesome AK in the world compared to nothing or compared to a worse one.
Yeah, and like when it comes to AKs, I don't know squat about them, and I have no problem admitting that. But like as far as their ARs and stuff go, I like the quality that you get for the price point. I'm definitely not one of those people that's like, oh, this is the greatest AR ever. But I realize, for the price point, they're giving you a decent product.
They're trying hard or whatever. And it depends on what you're using that gun for, too.
Yep.
Somebody who's buying their gun to shoot rabbits is different than somebody who's buying their gun to give it to their kid as their first gun. And that's different than somebody that's going to war, and that's different than somebody who needs it for home defense. So,
yep.
All those people are coming out with different criterias and different, right? Let's see. I'm trying to prototype. Oh, so first off, I didn't get those grips, but I appreciate that. I'll go over there and get them because Erstwhile made a set of 1911 grips that are pretty awesome looking, and then put DGS on the back with the gun show. And I believe he sent them to me so I can auction them off or something. So I'll probably put those on an actual auction. I think I can put those on eBay, right? eBay. But if not, I'll try to figure out maybe put them on Gunbroker actually. But But anyway, I'll definitely go check those out. And thanks for taking the time to do it. Of course, while I'm doing my taxes, I've come up with like 1,000 things because occasionally erstwhile and I'll talk about like projects or something. And there's no better way to come up with projects than to be doing taxes or something else horrible to do, because all you think about is other things to do, right? I've thought about something else here. I've got on the way. I actually bought it off of eBay this morning, and I think it'll be here next week, like Wednesday or something. And if it does get here, then I'm hoping by then we've done all this shit. And I can start talking about new projects. But anyway, I think I might have something that's up your alley. Actually watched something about my logarithm game that I'm playing with YouTube. They brought me full circle, and now they're showing me all the stuff that for my robot, like all the videos I've already seen, and then the channels that make the videos for my robot. So I think I killed it, and now it's just given up and given me like a loop. It's just going to show me all the other stuff that I've ever seen before. Anyway, I was watching something in there, and it was somebody using not my robot, because I don't think the robot matters, but using my software, my cheap-ass software, to do a really cool 3D cut, like a carving. So that makes me think that that software can do way more than I thought it can do just in itself, which got me interested because I'm doing my taxes. It got me super interested in out there and working on the robot, but it's like 107, so I'm not going out there working on it. Let's see, so they made some improvements, the prototypes, and large bore rifles.
Those were metal 1911 grips that erstwhile made you, right?
I believe so. We worked with, I did it, but whenever I was first doing videos, a friend of mine, Charles, was like, hey, you can do videos, come over here and videotape these air guns, because he's good friends with, is it like Tom Gaylord or something is the guy's name, who's like the boss of some air company, right? And then Charles knows him through his radio show, and I guess Charles appreciates air guns, so this guy is a big fan of Charles. He gave Charles, I don't remember, 2 or 3 like really fancy guns, and one of them was a 50 cal, and it needed a scuba tank to fill it. It was a pretty big video back in the day. I got it over here somewhere, I'll grab it. And that was my experience with big ass air guns. I was pretty impressed, except that I'm not carrying no scuba tank around with me, because then you got to go fill up a scuba tank to shoot your air gun. That ain't free, I don't think. But bullet size of a 45 slug or 50 cal, I guess, and then shot it like a gun. Like there's no difference between that thing shooting and, I don't know, like a 9mm or something shooting.
So recently I was playing around on Amazon, since you brought up the air guns, and I was looking for some cap guns for my kids to play around with. And
AK-47s too?
I didn't find any AK-47 cap guns, but I found one that is a German Luger replica. I thought that was pretty neat.
I don't know. Then they come out watching like Matt's Friday chats or whatever. They grow up to watch Matt's Friday chats, speaking German to each other and being weird.
Saying "Ushja."
Yeah, exactly. You don't want your kids running around doing that.
Yeah, and say now that you mentioned that, I might just refrain from getting that now. Plus, my 7-year-old daughter, she is like me and very mischievous and always playing jokes, and she would put a Hitler mustache on one of her siblings if one of them had one of those, now that I think about it. So yeah, I probably should just refrain from that one.
I was looking at something on Instagram. I think it was Rebecca Schmo posted something on her page, and something to the effect of like, what can name some things that you can't do now that we could do when we were kids or something like that. And be home before dark, stuff like just all these different things our parents used to tell us back in the day that I guess parents don't say that to the kids anymore. And something about that made me think about when we were little kids. Pretty much everybody I know that had a BB gun when we were little kids got in trouble with it at some point or another. And I mean, you can get in. It sure can be dangerous. Nobody died though. And I guess if it's possible, somebody, something else like lost an eye or lost a, I don't know what else you lose, like a mouth, teeth or something. But I mean, even if there could be a bad accident, you end up learning lessons. More likely than not, you broke a window or broke something, and then you had to deal with it, right? And that's where I was wondering if are the kids getting an opportunity nowadays to screw up so that they can learn what it's like to deal with it and then grow and live the rest of your life, and then appreciate, own it, whatever that word would be.
I don't know. I mean, I live in a trailer park, and honestly, I never see kids out. And
You never see me.
the thing is,
Not even a neighbor. That's what bugs me. I would think the kids that live around here would go out around here. But only a couple of them go out and do stuff. All the rest of them, I'm guessing there has to be more kids, but they're never out.
well, that's what I'm saying. When I would take my kids down to the bus stop, there's actually 2 bus stops for the trailer park, one for each end. But they have 2 separate buses actually stop here. I bet you there's probably a total of 40 kids that get on the buses.
Oh, you're
talking
about
What's that?
I was thinking regular bus for some reason. Now I got you. I'm with you. You're talking school buses.
Yeah, school bus. And like I said, there's probably about 40 kids between the 2 stops, one at each end of the park here. And I'm not joking. I don't see any kids out during the day. My girls will ask to go out and play, but there's no other kids outside playing. I remember, when I was a kid, that's when airsoft was getting real popular, and all of us, well, shoot, I guess you could say that I was doing straw purchases in a sense, because I was 16, but I looked like I was a lot older, so we'd all walk over to Walmart, and then I'd buy everybody's airsoft gun for them, being under 18 still, and then we go back to the trailer park that my cousin lived in, and we'd run all over the place just shooting each other and playing war in a sense and all that. One of our buddies, his parents had money, and he had a full auto airsoft gun, and he actually convinced his mom to drive past us all while we're waiting. And he did a friggin' drive-by out the side of her van. And if you did any of that today, I'm just people would be calling the police, and it's.
I know, including my mom probably. I know 3 moms that would have been right. They would have totally done that. I don't think they would have laughed, but they would have at least done it for us. They would have done it because they knew they were just being kids.
And the worst part was, we saw him pulling up. We're like, all right. And I think he realized what was going to happen is, since he was the last one there, we were all just going to tag him as soon as he got out of his mom's van. So instead of doing that, and he was coming with the one that was full auto anyways, he has, like I said, real slow, and you see that van door open, and it doesn't click with any of us until we're just getting showered in these little plastic BBs. But yeah, I mean, like you're saying, kids just, is it a matter of them not getting to do these things today, or they just don't do them, period?
I think it's habit, because I know these little kids I know, well, they're not little, I don't know. I think they're not in high school. So are they? Maybe one of them? Well, Quinceañera is 14 or 13? I think it's 13 and 14. Let's say they're 13 and 14. And then, this one kid doesn't do anything good. And then we went camping. Like he decided to go camping. Actually, they both went camping. But the dude kid, like he really likes camping or whatever. So I think it's more of they just don't get an opportunity to do anything. Because I think like things like camping is just universally awesome. And they just don't have they've never done it yet. So they just don't know. Because, you know what I mean? It's not like they didn't ask for it. They just didn't know they should have asked for it. Does that make sense? They're just kids. They don't know. And I got dragged along doing all kinds of stuff and experienced stuff as a little kid. And then I could decide if I ever wanted to do it again or not. But if you've never been dragged along to have to do anything ever, like I know a lot of kids I don't know a lot of kids. I know a couple of people I know will leave their kids. If they're like, hey, we're going to do X, Y, Z. And the kid's like, I don't want to do that. Then they'll be like, okay. And leave the kid there. Like that wasn't ever. I would have not understood that. It was like, hey, we're going to do X, Y, Z. I'd be like, all right, I guess I'm going because there's no other choice. Like that is what we're doing.
I mean, when I got older, like 15, 16, stuff like that, then hey, we're going to do this. Do you want to go along or not? Now, there are some things where I still didn't have that choice. But
yeah, I think a family camping trip or like, we're going to the movies. Do you want to stay home? I'm talking like, that kind of thing. But like, yeah, we're going here for like 3 days. Like, I want to stay with my uncle or something. Or I want to stay with my grandpa. Like, okay. That would have never been an option. I could have never just decided what I felt like doing.
Yeah, no, that's an automatic tough crap. You're going, get your crap together and be in the car in 10 minutes.
And now you're not going to go fishing.
Yeah. That was like, oh my gosh, that was, I think, one of the worst punishments growing up was you can't go fishing. Oh, man.
A lot of times, yeah, especially when you're going someplace horribly boring and the only thing you got going for it at all is that at least you really go fishing when you get there.
Yeah.
Because there was nothing. There was no televisions or nothing. If you were going out in the woods or the country or the whatever back in the day, whatever you want to call that, yeah, good luck. You were just out there by yourself.
Well, luckily, I normally had a couple other kids to play with and hang out with during times like that. So we normally find something stupid to do. I remember the one time we had rubber band guns, and then somebody shot somebody in the eye, and we lost the rubber band guns. Apparently, we weren't supposed to be shooting each other, which I'm like, well, what the heck's the point of the rubber band gun? I mean, yeah, we could shoot pop cans, but where's the fun in that? But so rubber band guns got taken away, and then we just started gathering up walnuts, and we had what we called the Great Walnut War, and we just started whipping them at each other. Mm-hmm. And then somebody got hit in the eye again, and we got in trouble for that. There's a lot of things when I look back. It's amazing, like the irony that I am blind, but it's not from any of those things is not.
We're made to not get hurt as much, for the stuff that would normally happen or whatever. So, you get hit in the eye, but your eye closes and, you've got like your eyebrow and whatever. So you might get hit in the eye, but you're hardly ever getting hit like right straight in the open eyeball,
Yeah. I remember
face near your eye, shit like that all the time.
When we were doing airsoft, I had the idea. I'm like, well, why don't we do the Old West draw and shoot, and make a little tournament out of it. And first, people were like, no, and then we did a couple of them, and they're like, that's great. Well, the one time it was my brother and I against each other, and I drew, and I fire my shot, and I watched the BB actually curve and it hit him right in the sunglasses. For some god awful reason, he was wearing sunglasses that day. Luckily, or else I would have shot him right in the eye.
When they'll fly and then just curve like slow for no reason, but you see it happen.
Yeah, I had a CO2 powered semi-auto one. It was actually supposed to be a Smith & Wesson SD40VE replica. And if you weren't using the higher end BBs, which we never did because those cost like $4 more, and you got like, several hundred less BBs. So we're like, yeah, we're always using the lighter, cheap stuff. Well, that gun shot the BB so fast that all of a sudden they just start curving. And my brother was the perfect distance away that this thing goes on this big curve. And the worst part was I knew he was that far away, so I had to actually shoot for the curve to hit him, or else I would have missed him by like 4 feet. But yeah, would have shot him right in the eye if he wasn't wearing sunglasses. And that was the day that we all finally got smart in wearing eye protection.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's how you learn, right? Like, people can tell you day and night, wear eye protection. And until something hits you or some of you know right in the eye, you're like, whatever, I'm never going to wear eye protection just because you told me to or whatever. But then, something like that will change it. And that's where it changes it 100%. Like, you're done. Like, that everybody that was there and watched that dude almost get it in the eye or whatever is like, oh shit. And they're always going to wear eye protection. You know what I mean? Like, you never have to have it. It's just going to happen. At least that's my experience. Like, once you learn it yourself, you're going to be telling other people like you're doing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're just talking about it.
Like, it's just something we never thought about. You would always be told you're going to shoot your eye out, you're going to do this, and don't play with sharp pointy sticks because you'll lose an eye. But you never think that, that's going to happen to me. Then it was just that one random time, and it actually cracked my brother's sunglasses. Obviously, they weren't anything super great, but yeah, that was kind of the wake up call where we all went, all right, eye protection, fine.
Threw the link out. Oh, okay. I threw the link out there. Anybody wants to jump in? Oh, I got this thing up. So let's see. Shoots deer. They're designed for large game. Guessing most people use them for hogs. PSAs, 100% American made. He says, because he wants to flood the market. I've seen that. Right? I've heard that. I didn't see that.
Hey, this is Wilden Well Armed. I just joined, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up here. We've been chatting. I haven't. Yeah, dig in.
Yeah, I live in Georgia, and I've driven over to that PSA place a couple times, and they're pretty good guys.
That's what I've heard. Now they've got multiple locations. You're talking like the main one or something?
Yeah, the main one's like near Greenville, right off near the Charlotte, North Carolina line.
How far of a drive is that for you? Is that like a whole day, or is that just like an afternoon?
No, it's like a 3-hour drive
each way.
Yeah, each way. Yeah, I mean, I was going to Charlotte, so just stopped.
So you're going there, like you're eating lunch and staying there, maybe even staying overnight type of shit.
Yeah, it was one of those. I stayed the night before in Charlotte, and then I had a meeting at 12, and had the afternoon, so I was out there.
I haven't been there. I don't think it's been a long time since I drove near there, so I don't even know if I've ever had an opportunity, but I feel like I've been there just based off of so many, videos and other people sharing their experience there. It's one of those things like I figure if I actually pulled into the parking lot and went into the place, I'd feel like I'd been there before.
Yeah, there's kind of this big octagon knife counter kind of in the middle of it all. It's pretty impressive store, but you don't get the feeling that they're a manufacturer. It just looks like a gun shop.
If you ever get up that way again, you should see if they give you a private tour that you could film and post.
Yeah, I'll do that. It's kind of in the strip mall, so it's kind of an odd location. I'm not sure where the factories are. I think they've got them all over the place.
The factories?
Yeah, factories. I think they.
From what I understand, they've acquired, right? So I don't think they've relocated. I think when they acquire, they just leave the place be and just influence what they create, right? But I don't think they've like taken these new factories and brought them into their main facility, have they?
Well, no, I think they, with the BMW being made there, and there's a lot of manufacturers that, so when they're idle, they can make gun parts, right?
Oh, you mean the cars are made in that area of the world too?
Yeah, BMW cars are made in South Carolina in Greenville area. So, so there's all kinds of tooling and machining and all that stuff. Most high school kids, most high school kids get a Uber machining lessons, if you know what I mean, paid by BMW.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're real big into apprenticeships. The Germans are.
I took a tour when I was a little kid of like the Ford factory, I think, in Detroit, wherever, some factory in Detroit, probably Ford, right? And it might have been Chevy, I guess, I don't know. But I mean, I can barely remember it, but I'll bet you now, it's got to be night and day compared to back then. With there might have been like a robot arm back in the day picking something up for somebody, but nowadays I bet you it's just mostly robots with one or two humans doing something.
Yeah. I wonder, you heard Elon Musk is moving from California to Texas?
Yeah, super excited about that. Not just because I want to see that stuff keep moving, but because I'm glad to see it come out of California.
Yeah. I'd like to see the whole factory move.
Huh?
I'd like to see the whole factory move to.
Yeah, like factories or whatever. I don't care if he leaves the ones there. Keep those jobs. Those people seem happy. We know somebody that works there. But if he starts putting everything else elsewhere in other states, I'd be happy about that. I think he will, right? Because he got mad at California, the state, not just like he didn't just get like a bug up his butt. He got mad at the state for just being jerks to capitalism, right?
Right.
So that's something that he would only go back, I would hope, if they change shit and they make it better again.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I don't know if it's possible, but maybe after a little while it could happen. I don't think it's just one bad tyrant. I think that's just a system that has to be taken apart for something.
Yeah, I mean, but do you think all the conservatives have just left the state already and the liberals just stay?
I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting because we've got tech and stuff. Of course, I used to watch some interesting things that were talking about how we've got the software still, but like our tech has the development of the hardware has gone to like there's a what do you call it? Silicon Valley of like India or something. And all the actual like innovation in hardware is being taken place there. And the people that used to go to Silicon Valley to be around that kind of thing, like when the transistors were first being built and stuff back in the 50s and 60s, like that's happening in India now. So I guess if you listen to that and it's accurate, then we've lost that part. And that was pretty big money and everything else wise. And we already know we lost Hollywood. And I don't know where software needs to be, like games and stuff, but I really don't pay any attention to games. So I assume that some of the games must be in California, but I don't think they all are. So what has California got left? Food. Like after you get rid of Hollywood and tech, I mean, I guess they might have some other industry still, like shipping and stuff, but they're mostly food. And what are they going to do? Just eat their own wealth? Like they need the rest of the world to eat their food, especially in Hollywood. So I'm hoping that they starve to death and just quit being weird because they have to work with everybody else again. Right now, they don't have to work with anybody. They got all the money.
Right, but I'm not even sure about food anymore. I think they, with the water recirculation program and the
No, you're right.
aqueduct program.
It's not a given. In other words, yeah, like they have food. They can have food, but not just. It's not like abundant where it's just falling all over the place anymore.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I was in the Army at Fort Ord, Monterey, California, and Watsonville, Salinas, all those areas were just big agricultural farms. I mean, strawberries, cabbage, everything they were rotating, but huge scales,
right. So erstwhile is asking if I take all the pictures. There's probably a picture or two that I didn't take, but I've taken every picture, but I don't take them like that day. I mean, these are old pictures. This picture is old as shit. I probably took this one in like 2015 or something, 16. And then this one had to be when I still owned all those guns. So yeah, these are like this one was just one day at the shop, the gun shop. They probably got like all these guns in some order. And while everybody else is working, I would be like, I'm going to lay down some multicam because I wasn't getting paid. I was just standing there. Like I was just helping. I was just there to take pictures. So everybody else would be working and I would just take these pictures, these guns before they got logged in or whatever, or maybe probably after, before because there's no tags on them. And I would just set them down, take a bunch of pictures. And then whenever they were like, quit it, I would give them back the guns and they would put them in whatever and get them in the books and shit. So that's where these pictures aren't my guns. I don't own all those girls either. They just were standing there and Haas stood there. But these are different. But then, like, that's just some picture. But yeah, most of these are, I don't want to say none of them are my guns, but most of them are just guns from the gun shop or a gun show or something. Like, I don't own 2 grease guns, but I was at BMC hanging out one time, and they had 2 of them. And I think it was 2 of the same models, but he was showing me how the different, they're clever about these things. Do you know what this little gizmo is right here? On the back of the stock right there?
No.
You can kind of tell because the way it looks. But, that's there for a reason. So we were just looking at shit like that, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take a picture.
Well, don't leave us hanging. What's the reason?
It's a mag loader.
Oh.
And it pushes the bullets down. Where'd that picture
go? Okay.
That's the picture somehow. Holy shit, where'd it go? Oh, it jumped down like 1,000 pages somehow. Anyway, I think you just jam it in through the stock even. And then I guess you load it from this way. But it's a 45 ACP with a 30 round mag or something. And I'll bet you those things were a bear once they got down in there. This one was like I just took the gun out of my pocket and put it next to a new one because I figured it would look cool to see, used and brand new kind of shit next to each other. These I had for a while back when I was still doing shit and what is it? Laser Light was still a company. Like they brought me up there. They go, hey, come on up here and take a look around. Like tour the factory because I was touring factories. They must have figured out I like doing that. Because they called me out of the blue and go, come up here and tour the factory. I'm like, fuck yeah. So me and my friend went up there and we toured the factory and they're like, oh, you can't take any pictures. Like, well, what the fuck am I up here for? Drove all the fucking way across Arizona. So then they were like, oh, we just wanted you to see the factory. I'm like, okay. But then after a while, they felt bad probably and gave me a bunch of grips. And then I took pictures of them. But that was back when, I was trying to take pictures and shit and whatever, just trying to really just take pictures. I wasn't even talking about them. This is about as much blurb as they ever got. These kind of sell themselves, obviously, but that company's out of business. They obviously didn't. I don't know. It was a decent company. It was a family-owned company. They might have just said it's time to be, done being in business. I think they sold to Crimson Trace. This is a 308 built on top of 1911. So that it pivots up here when you basically, I think you just flip down the safe. No, you push the mag release and then it lets go and what the hell does happen? I guess it comes straight up. I think this little piece just stays there and it goes straight up, and then the round comes out the back. I think it was called Thor. It was made by EAA. And then obviously, if I'm taking a picture of something that like these, yeah, that was my donuts. That's our picture. But I'm trying to think of if there's any pictures in here that would be obvious that we didn't take, or that I didn't take. The other thing is almost every single picture that you see on our Instagram is taken by a phone. Not this, almost all by the same phone, but either this phone or the phone I had before it. So I don't ever take a fancy camera or nothing. Okay, these pictures aren't mine. These I got off of somewhere because I don't have that BB gun anymore. Plus mine, the stock broke on mine a long time ago, even if I did. Those are real Ninja Stars. All right, let's go see if there's anything going on in the Instagrams tonight. What Ghost is trying to do with that. What is this one? I've seen this one a couple of times. Is that an air gun? Oh, that's a paintball gun. I thought it was an air gun when I first seen it. Here's a war dog doing something at night.
I've been cleaning out my closet the last couple of days when my family was away, and I ran across a whole bunch of gun stuff I've never done. I've got all kinds of projects now.
Oh, I'm reading. You have a bunch of projects to do now?
Yeah, I found a carbon fiber free-floating front grip, handguard grip, and I always wanted to put it on. I've got this Beowulf 50 that's just I swear it weighs close to 9 pounds. It's just heavy, and it feels like all the that front assist. It's a quad rail with the rails on all four corners. I mean, it's just heavy. And found some other stuff too, but that was the main big project I saw.
You got all the stuff to take the barrel apart and put it back together?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I got the armor's wrench, and I've got the torque wrench part to measure the torque on it. So I don't know if it takes more than that. I don't know if I have it. I mean, I've got a vise as well and a mag block.
That's a big piece for front end stuff.
Yeah,
but it all kind of depends on how it's set up, I guess. But as long as you don't got a proprietary handguard, then there's no proprietary tool, probably.
Yeah, I bought it from Radical Firearms, so I thought it was going to be a Seeking Precisions because they just buy overstock a lot of what they do. And I went and saw Seeking Precisions at the NRA show, and they said that they never made a Beowulf 50, that they made the SOCOM 458, and they said they were selling those to Radical Firearms, and were really surprised they even had Beowulf 50s.
Like if they're doing some kind of caliber conversion over there, you mean?
I don't think so. No, they wouldn't do a caliber conversion. But he was so surprised. He got the general manager, his boss's boss. I mean, I don't know if it was the owner or not, but he was like, "Really? You bought a Beowulf 50?" I'm like, "Well, they don't call it a Beowulf 50. They call it a 12.7 by 42."
Speaking of 458s, I was watching a Brownells video today where they were talking about a 458 Winchester Magnum. Either one of you guys heard of that?
No.
So apparently, just the projectile itself is as big as a full 9mm cartridge. It's just a beast of a round. Apparently, it was used primarily for big game hunting over in Africa. So I sent a copy of that video to my uncle so he could check it out. turns out he works with a guy whose dad owns one. So I'm currently trying to make a few phone calls to try and shoot that beast of a round.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. That, or I at least just want to buy one lone round off the guy, just because I don't know where the heck to even try and find it. And I figured I don't think this guy's going over to Africa too often to take down big game. So if he's got one round that he's willing to part with for, a few bucks, then that'd just be cool to add to the collection.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the Beowulf, the actual bullets are minimum 330 grain, and I think their high is 355 grain. I know there's 350, but I think there's one higher. And they're not too expensive, $26, $27, $28 maximum. So that's 14. $1.40 a round.
But it's not like you're asking him to give up like a $5 piece of brass or something that he's never going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Or even if you were to go out and buy a box of 20 for, $30 with tax and all,
Yeah, that's the worst thing about ammo collecting. That's like the worst kind of cheating, is just going and buying a whole box of it when you only want one for collection.
Yeah, they said at Cabela's they called a guy shoplifting a Beowulf round, and he got a felony shoplifting because it was, a bullet.
Really? I did not. Is that a state thing, or is that a thing, like a national 3-strike and you're out kind of thing?
I don't know. They just really press charges at that store. It gets me so paranoid. I always check the box, and I don't want to, I'm in a wheelchair. I'd hate for a round to fall in my lap or something. So I'm real careful about it. But, if I'm going to pay $30 for a box of ammo, I want to make sure, I got all 20 rounds in there.
That's good. Or it's not one that somebody like opened and spilled all over and they're all gross or broke or something. Or...
Yeah. So what are you drawing here? I missed the beginning.
Basically, I'm just working on taxes, so I'm just trying to get my mind off stuff. These are museums. So this is the NRA Museum in Virginia. This is if you go to the NRA Museum and you park in the parking lot in the back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like. So the first time, so you got these two towers, and then the museum is like right in this area of the bottom building. And then if this was you have to just go to, there's no way to explain this. We got to go to Google, because I figured out that the map in, what do you call it? DuckDuckGo is like the worst map ever. So
Yeah.
what is this? Wear a mask. So come out here, go over to Virginia. Oh yeah, DC, and then you come out of DC towards Fairfax, and it'll be on one of these highways. I don't know which highway. So I'm going to drive into Fairfax, and I'll flip over to the aerial view, and there we go. So there's the NRA Museum. So you'll come off of this road coming out of DC. So DC's right over here. You're going to come down this road, and then there you go. Then you're going to get off at this exit, but this exit is stupid. You have to go way over here, and then come all the way back, and then you finally get over to here, and now we're going to drive up on it. We're going to go to 3D view, and now we get to this intersection. Oops. And from this video, it's going to be like this. Just try Google Maps. So we're going to come out of this intersection. We're going to go over to the NRA building. And then when you go to pull in, especially if you've never been there before, you don't know. So this is what you find when you're like out front of the place. Oops. So there's out front, and then you're going to come in, and I'm like, what? I can drive through this building? So whenever I first got here, I was like, what? You can let me drive through it? Stupid.
Right.
So when I first got here the first time, I was just driving by myself. Like no one told me where to go or nothing. Anyway, you can see what I'm looking at here. Like you can just drive right through the building. And who isn't going to drive right through a building? There's nothing stopping you. It doesn't quite say feel free, but it doesn't say don't, right? Technically, it says go over here. And who's looking at that stupid sign, right? And then technically, it says the range is over here, but nobody's looking at that either. So if you've never been there before, the first thing you're going to do is drive through that building. And then once you drive through that building, now you're on top of this parking garage. And that's what I was trying to show you, that there's no way to explain that. In that picture, I'm basically standing, or I would be standing, like on that parking garage. I just think that's the coolest shit ever. You're on top of a 2-story parking garage, right? Looking at this cool building or whatever. And if you really want, like DC is over here, like it's really close to DC and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But scroll back in here. There we go. And bring it around again. Okay, there's the building. Now, if you are standing here in this parking garage, looking at the building, like where I'm drawing that picture from, and that's kind of what you see from the highway. It's not 100%, but it's kind of what you're seeing from the highway there. But if you were to take a left over here when you drive in and not go through the building, but instead go around the building over here and then go around into this parking garage right here, right? So not over here into the garbage area, but over here into the parking garage area. Let's see what happens. I don't know if I can zoom in over there or not. Can I? No. There. So drive down. No. Drive down. And you're in this hill. I don't know, I'll have to zoom in. But anyway, that's the range. So you go up here and you're on top of the parking garage. I guess there's a layer of parking garage, and then you go on to the second layer, and there's the shooting range. So now you can shoot at the NRA range. This is literally like standing on top of the range, looking at the museum. The museum is down at the bottom. So if
Is the range open for anyone?
No. Well, yes, it's open, but it's Virginia, and they give cops the precedent or whatever. So anytime there's like some kind of a cop thing happening, you're not going in there.
Okay.
So every time I've been there, it's only like 3 times there's been a cop thing happening. So I've only seen the range, and they won't let you take any video or pictures of the range for some reason. So I don't have any video or pictures of the range. Well, one time I went in there, and it was, I don't know, 5 minutes before like some police thing was going to happen. So they let us look inside of there. So now this is, what is this? This isn't the museum. This is upstairs somewhere. That's interesting. They just have a random picture from upstairs somewhere. So what does this say? The Beretta Gallery? Maybe this isn't a museum. So where would this be? I don't know where there's a room like this in the museum. Is this a room in the museum? So, the Beretta Gallery. This is interesting. National Firearms Museum. So let me see if I can scoot around in here. I didn't know there was even a 3D view of the Veterinary Museum. There's only the one, though, it looks like. And it's in some dumbass room. It's not even in the good room. He's in some corner somewhere. I mean, there's some neat things in here, and I guess he's telling, I think I know where this is now. If this is where I think it is, then right here is what we're looking at would be Theodore Roosevelt's lever action with a suppressor on it. It would be right there. This might be that room. I never really go in here because there's not much to see. But anyway, so NRA museum's open pretty much every day, I think, except Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's free. So you can drive in here, drive right through the building, and then you drive right through the building, go right here, and then you can park, walk in, check out the museum for nothing.
I won't lie. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Will.
You really can drive through the building? Is that, or are you just joking about that part?
No, yeah, there's like whatever you call that. I don't know what that's called. When there's a hole in the building, you drive right through it.
Yeah.
Tunnel?
I guess it's not really a tunnel. It's not going under stuff. I mean, I don't know. I think it's like there's, wait a minute, where did it even go? There's two buildings. I gotta make it north again. Is there something there? I guess there is stuff on top of it. So maybe it would just be a tunnel. I was gonna say, I don't think it's a tunnel but I guess there is building on top of it. There's a whole bunch of
Are those parking spots? Are they painted for parking?
Huh?
Yeah, they're painted for, I see the parking spots. They're painted for parking.
Yeah, I don't know when they took this picture, but it's definitely a parking area.
Yeah.
And that's where most people park. When you get here, when you get to the place, you feel like it when you're there. It seems like it's designed for you to drive. You wouldn't. It doesn't look like there's anything to drive over to. It looks like there's a parking lot over there. Over here. You know, when you're looking, it looks like that's just a parking lot, and it looks like that's just a parking lot, and it's as obviously another parking lot. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I didn't even think twice. The first time I went there, I was like, "God damn, I get to drive through a building." And then I just immediately parked inside that third parking lot. Also, there's nothing over here. Like, you can walk in this doorway, and there's a secretary over there, but it's like a high rise. You know, it's just the boring ass secretary of a high rise. There's nothing to do in there. You wouldn't know it's the NRA or Caterpillar Tractor or Sundance Foods or something. It's just some building. The only thing that lets you know it's the NRA really is the museum over here, and then there's like a gift shop right next to the museum. I mean, there's logos and stuff, but it's not like there's guns or anything really around. It's just
You're right. There's no signage or anything. Even the flagpole doesn't have a NRA.
No, the sign's out here for like the building or what, like right here, but it's not huge.
Right.
I've seen what do you call protests out front. They usually protest. Could have sworn that was different over here. Maybe they're changing something. It seemed like usually when they protest, it was over here in like a little area. It was like not really a park, but there was parkway. It was like this. I think they added this wall. Maybe they got sick. Maybe I'll bet you what happened is because when I've seen people protest, they're over here. They probably put this wall up because they're sick of people standing on that grass right there, in this apartment. That's just some apartment, it looks like. But I'll bet you they put this wall up because every time I've seen people protest, they're standing in this grass looking at the NRA building across the street like it's the enemy. Because they can't stand on it, I guess.
I used to go to South Africa a lot, and there was this high rise that had 4 towers, and in the middle it had an intersection, and below it had about 8 levels of parking deck. And Johannesburg is just dangerous as shit. And but on top of that building, between those 4 buildings, the 4 towers, it felt like an intersection. So everybody's out there drinking coffee and eating lunch outdoors, and nobody walking around with machine guns like normal when you're outdoors. And it was just crazy. And then you realize at the end of those 4 streets, it just drops off into nothing. But it kind of reminds me of that parking lot you showed.
Yeah, when you're there, you're up in the air, so it feels like, you're just like above or away from all the around area. It's sort of a quiet area. It's mostly like behind the NRA building, like behind this parking lot, like behind where I'm standing making this picture. It's some kind of municipal, I think, like business center type of things that are abandoned on the weekends, like empty on the weekends. And then in front of it is those apartments. So pretty much the only time I've ever been here is like during business hours, and it's almost just kind of real quiet, like an area that's full of apartments while everybody's at work and school and stuff. So it's just sort of a not quite residential, like right at the boundary of residential and commercial, I guess, or municipal. I don't know. Anyway, pretty quiet area, and because of that, you don't even think about it. I've only ever thought about the NRA Museum. The only time I ever even really thought about the area around here is when I started figuring out which picture to draw for the book or whatever. Because, well, at first it was just showing you the 3D view. I was going to zoom out a lot more so you could see the building, but I figured this is more iconic. I figure most people probably that went here to the museum drove through the building and then got this sort of experience. Like I say, because there's nothing behind you, and because you're 2 stories, 3 stories above everything behind you, it feels like you're just there with the NRA building. And it's just, if you look, there's no peripheral. If you look around, it's just all trees and stuff. You don't even see buildings. And I don't remember hearing anything, even though we're right next to the highway. It wasn't like noisy or anything.
And this is where you live? You live nearby?
Oh, no, I've only been here a couple of times when I visited. I don't know, I live in Arizona. I live near here.
Okay.
But whenever I visit the area, just to monitor the museum and to visit, I'll go over there. But I'm no expert, but from being schooled by the people who live in these places, like, I don't remember the times anymore, but there's like windows, like from like 9 to 11 or something, you don't drive. And then from like 11 to 3 or to 2 or something like that is like, that's the time you're allowed to do stuff. But if you are somewhere and it's like, you haven't left already, if you're not on the road at 2, then just hide somewhere, like go somewhere and stop until 7, because it's just gridlock. So that's when I'm driving around in the van, especially places like DC and things, I'll just take that advice, So if I go to this place, I'm there at like 11 or something, and then I leave by 2. So I don't have to see any of the horrible traffic or get stuck anywhere, or run out of gas or whatever happened to me. And I forget how many, but they got 3,000 guns or something. It's a packed museum. It's not the largest museum by any sense. It's just a few rooms. I guess it's 15 rooms, I said. So it's probably like 2,000 square feet, if it's that big. I'd almost say 1,000 square feet. It's definitely less than 2,000 square feet of this giant building. And it's super cool. I mean, it's interesting guns. It's not like they've got John Wayne's guns or something, but because other museums have that stuff. But they have a lot of generals' guns, and it's all stuff that people had given the NRA. So unlike other museums where it's some guy just went out and collected a bunch of stuff and then died and gave it to a museum, this is a whole bunch of people that died and gave all their stuff to one place. So it's just a different thing to walk, for me at least, to walk through 15 different rooms. The first room you walk into is some guy that was like a billionaire, like literally a billionaire. So he has 4 of the richest or the most expensive guns that ever were made. And that's like the first thing you see when you walk in. There's like the most expensive guns that ever been made. And then by the time you're done, you're walking around and seeing like guns that got pulled out of the World Trade Center. Like all the generals gave their guns away because none of them really cared about having their guns, I guess. Competition guns, I don't even know, but all the people that won or whatever, different competitions and stuff. So the type or where the guns come from, I guess, is just totally different at this museum compared to others. Why is it letting me move that picture? Oh, because I'm drawing all this shit on top of the picture. So now I gotta find the picture, lock it, and then take all this other stuff. Delete it. Unlock the layer. Go to that layer. that stuff on a different layer. Now, when I go and pull all this, it will take a picture also.
Is Photoshop your full-time job?
Oh no, I don't have. This is it. This is Illustrator, but I don't know if you could do this kind of stuff full time. I guess you could. I'd have to have some sort of like an agent or somebody to line it up. I wouldn't even know how to get gigs like this. If you could do this as a full-time job, I would never be bitching about money. This is playing a game, basically. This is super sloppy, and there's like, it's just me as the only judge, so it doesn't look good. I don't care. But I don't know if somebody. I was thinking about putting my stuff on Fiverr again. More attention to my Fiverr, but I don't know. I've used Fiverr a bunch, but I've never actually successfully gotten a gig off of Fiverr.
Yeah, I've got a friend who does clothing catalogs all the time with Illustrator, and that's all he does.
But like somebody will say, "Here's the task. I go do this," and he accomplishes. He does it for me.
Right.
I would do that if I could get, like I say, figure out how to line that up or whatever. I got to do something because I'm doing these taxes, and I didn't make any money. I'm certainly not making money. Anything I have to figure out how to just keep doing. But I probably should be figuring out some way to actually make money. At least until I can write, until I can book out, and then this book make so much money. I don't have to worry about it. I'm pretty sure, even though people don't actually go to firearms museums, they can't get enough of them.
Yeah.
Even though they never actually attend one, they're going to really want to work.
The last one I went to was at Fort Benning. They have the new home of the infantry, but it's not only guns, but there's a ton of them.
But when was this? What year?
It was year before last, so coming up on September, it would have been it'll be 2 years.
And then what was it like? Because I watched something of somebody going into what's it called? The Arsenal in Illinois, Rock Island, and you just walked right in. And the last time I tried to go to an Army museum, you had to do all the background check and basically take a blood test and all the shit. Like, how was it? Was it just walk right in, or was it?
Yeah, it was walk right in. They had a $1 donation if you want to, and so yeah, well, I gave him a donation. I mean, he was a Korean War vet with that maroon hat and all the patches on it, and I felt bad for him, and had to give $1.
Well, because it's a museum, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So it's not like to get on the base, you had to go through, Fort, you had to go through all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. I don't remember if it's actually on base or partially on base. I think it's partially on base. Like,
it's in both kinds. So you're not. It's not an issue. You're not even actually going on the base ever.
I think the museum is kind of beside the base, not actually where the troops would be. So it's like open to the public.
Okay, cool. That's how it was at the Dayton Museum one, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I just don't really feel like going in and doing all that stuff. Just to go look for it at a museum for like 5 minutes. Now that one might be different, but I was thinking of littler ones out here that are, there's like 6 guns in them. Like the one in Fort Echuca literally has like 8 guns. Like, I've only seen this museum, and there's like 8 guns in it. So, yeah. Yeah, those are cool because while they don't have a ton, they're probably going to address the guns in a whole different way, right? Because they're more, when you know, like,
Yeah,
only two guns that
there-
they use, but they're more worth. They mean so much more to those guys.
yeah. Once you see the actual uniform for that particular skirmish or battle or war or MOS, it makes a lot more sense. Seeing it all in that historical setting. And it's a brand new museum. I think it's I don't remember if $100 million museum. It's incredible.
Now, there's the Museum of the Army. Is that the same thing, or is this a different one?
If that's in Columbus, Georgia, then that's it. I think that is the Museum of the Army.
Oh, okay. I didn't think it was open. It was like supposed to open, and then the whole China garbage happened, and then it never opened, right? Is that the same one?
No, this has been open 2 or 3 years now.
Oh, then we're thinking of different ones, I think. Let me go.
Okay.
Because I only barely found out about this one. It's called I think it's just called Museum. And it was like in July of this year.
Yeah, I think this is the Infantry Museum.
Yeah, that's probably it. Now they have, I forget, there's literally a whole book. There's like 140 Army museums. This is just the one that is going to, I think, accumulate a lot of this stuff, because a bunch of the museums are just, well, this is where the fort was, so this is where our museum is, right? And it's like, well, okay, but now the fort's not there anymore. So, what are you going to do? So this is, okay, they were supposed to open on June 20th. And it's kind of neat because it's a massive place. I don't really pay that much attention. I don't go back and live back then or nothing. So I don't really pay attention. But when I started doing the museum stuff, I was like, oh, snap. Trying to figure out where this one was. So I've never been to it. No, it's in Virginia. Yes. Fort Bev, something, Virginia. I've never heard of. So it's not the one in Georgia.
Okay.
But still, yeah, like when you're talking infantry versus artillery, like I went to theirs. I was hanging out with a friend of mine in Fort Sill, looking around their museum. They might have had like a gun or something. They're artillery and stuff. Like they don't care about guns. They care about cannons and shit, right? But
Right.
they got Geronimo, the room where they put Geronimo in, Oh, sorry about that, man.
No, you're fine. The duck's giving me some shooting for some reason, so I think the next thing I do a barbecue video on, I'm going to do a smoked duck just to show who's the boss.
I just watched the guy from Arrested Development and the chick from Friends have a movie, and it's not even that funny. It's like a comedy, but it's not. It's like a drama comedy. And anyway, there's a scene with the duck in that, and the kid's like, I don't want to eat that. And they're like, well, I just spent a lot of money on this duck. It's been a long time since I ate a duck. DJ saying, if you've been to the Strategic Air Command Aerospace Museum. Now, is that the Smithsonian Museum? I've been to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. So, I've been to a bunch of Air Force museums, but I'm not going to say I've been to all of them because I don't even know how many there are. Or did I kick you out?
Hey, sorry about that. I was trying to look at the duck and turned myself off.
I don't know where I'll kick him out. So we're talking about the Strategic Air Command. Well, I guess I should write museum in there. Got to figure out where it is. But I don't know. Ashland, Nebraska. No. Oh, dang, they got an SR-71 there. No, I'll put it on my list, though, because there's another museum I wanted to look at in Nebraska. So let's see where this one is in Nebraska. Look how shitty this map is. It's like the shittiest map. I don't know how people on that's why people on iPhones can't ever get anywhere or do anything. Look at now my map is. Come on. Seriously? Can't even slide this thing over. Anyway, it's way over on the other side of Nebraska. I don't know what the hell I'm ever going to need to go there. Is that where Travis lives?
I'm not exactly sure where in Nebraska he is.
No, he lives by Grand Island.
Central.
He lives before Grand Island because I called him somewhere in here and he's like, oh, you're past me, dude. So he lives over here somewhere. So I don't know why I would ever go over here again. But maybe. I was going to say, I think one time I drove South Dakota, and I had to be driving down somewhere around here somewhere. And I was minding my business, and I didn't even realize. And like two B-2s, B-2 bombers, like I'm driving this way going east, and they flew up. I'm pretty sure they flew up from my left to my right. Scared the living crap out of me because I didn't think you could not hear them. And then all of a sudden, there's a B-2 bomber flying over my head at like, takeoff speed. They're just taking off, I think. And then before I could poop, like the second one was right behind it. It's like, holy moly, that's amazing. So I think that's strategic air command. Unless that's no, that's strategic air command. No, I haven't been to this one. Anybody else been to this one in Nebraska?
I haven't. Most I've done in Nebraska was go see a girl I was dating at the time, and then she took me to a gun show, which I will say they know how to do a gun show, because there must have been a row of suppressors, and it was probably 6 tables long, and I think there were probably 8-foot tables, so just 48 feet of nothing but suppressors on the tables. And every gun show I've ever been to here in Pennsylvania, I've never seen a suppressor once. So I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, suppressors are pretty plentiful in the gun store, but never at a gun show.
Yeah, like I said, this was, I think, at the Columbus County Fairgrounds, or something like. It was at the county fairgrounds. I don't know if it was Columbus County or not, but it was pretty impressive. Although I think I was equally impressed by the mountains of corn that they just had sitting outside the fairgrounds, because they're like, yeah, we couldn't get rid of it.
Do you have a suppressor?
I do not. I would like to get one, but there's other things that I feel like I could spend $200 on rather than a suppressor.
I've got a 9mm, and it's just permanently on my 300 blackout. Not even planning on taking it off. And then I've got 2 that are in jail. They had the Beta O'Rourke special. I guess it was November, December, or right around Christmas this past year. But anyway, all my paperwork got accepted on December 31st, and I thought I was going to have it by now. But anyway, so it was buy one, get one free. So I got 2 for $350.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind? What brand?
They're Rebel. Since then, they've gone out of business, but I got mine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They exist. They're sitting at the gun shop. They're just waiting, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and my gun shop has a range. I can go shoot them anytime I want.
Yeah, before I get a suppressor, I want to build an SBR.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brownells has that Palmetto State 300 blackout with a 12-inch, 11.5-inch barrel. It's called the MK11 111, and it's on sale. It's been on sale for the last year for $680, which is for primary weapon system. That's a great deal.
It's called a rifle because it's not rifled, and they're making a big deal about it, and everybody was supposed to try and guess why it's not an SBR.
It had no rifling.
Yeah, there's no rifling or whatever, and so it's just any other weapon or some crap. I remember people were talking a lot of crap on it because like it's shooting 4-inch groups at 50 yards, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, for somebody that like me that wants to have an SBR just for home defense, where I don't plan on trying to shoot for accuracy out at the range or anything like that. It's just simply something happened at home, and I think there's more than one intruder or something like that, and I want to have 30 rounds instead of 10 or 15, whatever I have in a handgun. I'm thinking if you're getting 4-inch groups at 50 yards in your home, you're still going to be making kill shots, no problem.
Well, the whole thing about that, if you get something that's 26.5 inches long at the shortest it can be, then you can put that forward vertical grip on the front if you want. So it's a pistol in the rear, but you license it as a other than, like, it's the same category as a Mossberg pump, the short one. So it's at 26 inches. It just can't be concealable. So anything above 26 inches is considered non-concealable. So
Yeah.
a pistol. So when you get that MK11 111 barrel upper, it easily makes it into a other than firearm. When you go 8 inches and below, you can never make them long enough to be a other. That's why those 11 and 12-inch barrels are so popular.
Yep.
Lucas from what's Lucas, that guy that's so quick? What's his website? What's his channel? He's in Tennessee. Lucas Boken, is that Tyrannosaurus Rex? He does holsters. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't. How about you, G?
Oh, I'm muted. No, I don't think I know what you're talking about.
Okay. He's a real authority on these other than firearms. Having a M16, AR-15 with that 12-inch barrel, 11-inch barrel, and what all you could do, because he flies to so many competitions, you can't go across a state line, even driving, if you've got an SBR.
Oh, he shoots SBRs, so he's taking them all the time.
Well, no, that's why he gets these other than firearms. So it's a pistol. It starts its life as a pistol, but then you change the paperwork to other than firearm, and because the barrel upper is more than 26 inches long.
Oh, you change the paperwork? What do you mean? Register?
Well, you don't have to actually change it, but it's never been a rifle.
Oh, okay. So
But when mine came in, I got them to actually classify it as other firearm in that one checkbox.
Yeah, if you're ever buying an AR lower, that's usually the best thing to do is just ask the shop that you're getting it at to make sure they put on the paperwork that it's marked as other. That way, if you want to turn it into a pistol, you can, and don't worry about any of the semantics with the ATF. But a lot of people, they don't realize that. In a lot of places, they just put it down as rifle.
Right.
Well, for that particular one, it would be interesting, but yeah, you wouldn't know necessarily on an NFA item. It'll tell you on the paperwork what they've classified it as. Plus, there's not that many weird things that I can think of. There's probably something. But anyway, with this, I don't know if it can't be up to the discretion of the store. There's nothing about ATF regulation or enforcement where they're like, yeah, it's just up to the stores. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's going to be probably like some kind of, because it's new, some sort of like maybe regional or like maybe not even regional, but like only dealt with as the agents or whoever the people are that have dealt with it. You know what I mean? Like if they've never dealt with it, they probably don't know or care how to classify it. Now, once they've dealt with it, they've made a decision, but I don't think that's necessarily the same decision as like the technology branch. So I don't know where that.
Well, with the AR lowers, the problem becomes you can have it classified as a pistol, or you can have it classified as a rifle, depending on what you're wanting to do with it. Or you can get it classified as other, and then that leaves it open. Because I heard a couple of giveaways where somebody was giving away a AR lower, and the shop for some reason actually classified it as a pistol, and then this guy went to get it, and well, he's only 18, and he couldn't get it, and it was creating some issues, and people were like, "What? Why don't you just get it classified as an other next time, and then he can do what he wants?"
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't get that. You don't just get to make that choice. It's not like when you go to a gun shop, they're like, "Hey, how would you like this? How would you like us to put this in our books?" You know what I mean? Like, it's their decision. It's their.
Oh yeah.
Their job on the line.
Well,
So,
yeah, but when you're buying a strip lower, they ask you. I've gotten every one of mine as a strip lower. I've got multiple ones, and they've always asked you.
Well,
that's the thing. That's the thing. They're going to ask you, is this a pistol or is this a rifle? They're not going to use that other category too often. Some stores that have different preferences or care, are going to think about it differently. But I don't think I can even imagine. I'm pretty sure there's going to be stores out there that are going to go, like, either this is our policy. You buy a lower and it's always an other, or like you buy a lower and we're going to ask you if it's a rifle or a pistol. And not because of some law, but because that's how they did it. Like, that's how they used to do it, and that's how they continue to do it, kind of thing.
Yeah. My local store puts everything down as a pistol because you could convert. Once you put a longer upper, it automatically becomes a rifle.
But like he's saying, now you're kind of stuck if you're 18, though, because now it's like, every state, you're kind of like, oh, I'm putting this down as an upper or a lower. I'm putting this down as a pistol. So, sorry, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid, 21-and-a-half-year-old kid, sorry. But that's the thing. So that's why some shops, probably until they encounter that, what do they care? Like if it's all adults coming in there, what do they care if they put it down as pistol? Because like you say, pistol is safer, like more wide-ranging, option. And I know guys that were apprehensive. When that other came around, I was still hanging out in gun shops more. And when that other came around, they did not like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just, maybe you don't. Yeah. When you at the gun shop have to make a decision about anything, that's not fun. Like, they've got so much regulation and rules that it's comforting to just be playing by a book that somebody else wrote. When they've got to come in and do something, that could be that some of them don't like that. And they'll depending on the, how old they are or whatever, like how much experience they've had or bad experience, they might say, no, we're just not going to deal with these anymore.
Yep. Yeah, and like that's for example, something that happened recently, when those 20 people walked into that one gun shop together, and apparently they were all left wing and looking to get their first guns or whatever, and the shop owner's like, well, no way, get out of here. People were like, oh, no, they're right. No. He was protecting himself. He's got the right to refuse business to anybody. He doesn't have to sell them guns. And when you got 20 people walking into your shop all of a sudden, you don't know who's buying what for who or anything else. Any one of those could have ended up being a straw purchase, and then he's on the line for selling that gun.
Yeah. No, good point.
And people wanted to land base and say, oh, he's anti-gun. No. And the left like, oh, how could he do that? Well, you guys sit there and say it's so easy to get a gun, then when you find out it's not, you're mad. I worked at a local sporting goods store, and they had a whole giant thing on straw purchases and, what to look for and all that. And I actually had to one time refuse somebody because everything had the telltale signs of a straw purchase. Lady walks up, and I was like, what can I help you with? She's like, oh, I want to look at a rifle. Okay, well, any particular one? And she hem-haws around and she's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, is this your first gun? Or, and she's not really able to answer any questions. And she's like looking at her hand, and I'm thinking she had it written on her hand and it was starting to wear off. And so finally, she tells me she wants to see a little Remington 22. I was like, okay, so we had two different models in that gun, and I pull out the one, and about that time, her boyfriend walks up and he whispers something in her ear, and she's like, "Oh, the other one." I was like, "Okay," because now I'm really getting red flags about it. And so I grab the other one, hand it to her. She looks at it for 2 seconds, and then she hands it to him. He checks it over, does his thing, and he looks at her, nods, hands it back to her, and she's like, "Yeah, that's the one we want." I was like, "All right, that's fine." I was like, "But he needs to do the paperwork." Why? It's for me. I was like, with everything that I've seen, I don't believe it's for you.
Did they go irate or what?
Oh, they were pissed, and they ended up storming out, and my manager, it was just a 20. I was like, I don't care if it's just a 22. I was like, it's my job currently. If I sell that and then it comes back, I probably shouldn't say their name, but they're shit canning me, quicker than crap, and they're gonna be like, "Whoa, we have training on this," and he ignored it, and they're gonna put all legal responsibility on me. I was like, I'm not taking that chance.
Sure.
Oh, I'm muted. Even if they're like, "Oh my goodness, that was a mistake," and we want to help him, and he didn't do that intentionally. Their hands are tied. They don't get to just, the ATF doesn't go, "Oh, okay, well, you got somebody vouching for you that you're good. Then that wasn't a was it with the straw purchase? You're still in trouble." But I was gonna say, I guess I was muted. I was gonna say, you described way more talking than I would have done. Whenever something like that happened, we would just be like, "Nope," and then they would look at us and be like, "Okay," and they would leave because they knew, and they, that they were pushing it. And as soon as we were out of them, they'd leave. So there was never any kind of like freaking out or whatever. Like it was just like an acknowledgement that they were caught doing their thing.
Yeah,
I
was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I didn't want to deny them the sale. And if he was good to fill out the paperwork, then cool. But obviously, there was an issue with him filling out the paperwork if they wanted to have the giant fit about it.
And then, of course, yeah, it depends on who you're talking to, because there would have been times when it is an obvious, like, new couple, and that'll happen, right? You're allowed to fall in love and get married or whatever, move in, and then decide, oh, we're on our own and we're young, let's get a gun. And we can, so let's do it, right? You don't have to be tactical or cool or something to get a gun. So I'm all about, like, somebody coming in and being like, oh, I don't know what the laws are, and like I'm an idiot. Like you're just like, oh, I didn't know I could buy him a gun. Because that would happen all the time, where somebody was like, we're a new couple, and I want to buy him a gun. Are you married? No. Well, then you can't. Oh, like that. Or it was like, oh, well, then if he buys it, is it a problem? No. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? You definitely, I would say straw purchase was like twice, maybe once a month, twice every couple of quarters. It was occasionally, like you knew when they were happening because they were really obvious, but the number of like just new couples that would come in and be like, sometimes out in Arizona too, it's like, oh, my friend's got a gun and I want to get one. No, it wasn't always like protection. Sometimes it was just like, I want to go shoot in the desert with my friends, and what gun should I get? Probably 10 of those every potential straw purchase. Like it was definitely heavy on the normal good regular people just buying guns and I don't know what the laws are.
Yeah, and like for me, that's the only one I ever encountered. I don't know if it's because I was working at a big chain store, I guess you could say. They claim to be the biggest. What's that?
That could be different customers and stuff, because a different kind of person is going to walk into a big store versus a mom and pop. I work at a little 1,000 square foot mom and pop. Got to park in the parking lot and walk in. That's a lot different than you just going to walk into a big box store and see what happens.
Exactly. And I had actually, the next day, I asked the guy that I had relieved, I was like, yesterday, did you have a heavyset woman and a guy that was probably about a foot taller than her come in and look at this gun? He's like, yeah, why? I was like, all right, just want to double check. So they had already been in, looked at that gun on the shift of the previous guy, waited until we changed shifts, and then they thought they were going to come in and be slick.
I've had a chick one time. Well, I was in the store. I don't remember who she walked up to, but we're right here next to Mexico. So as rare as it happened, about every other one was somebody that didn't even speak English. Like, they did not know, or they were, I don't know, fishing or something. Like, hey, we don't care about your freedom or life, so you go into that gun shop and try to buy a gun, and if you get arrested, we don't care. I'm sure it was something like that. But I definitely remember this one time a lady came in and she had a piece of paper, and she's like Smith and Wesson, whatever. Like, she's just saying words, and it took a little while. I don't remember if it was one of my first ones or not, but I remember that one taking a minute, and then we all realized this is not somebody trying to buy her husband something. Like, this is some lady who's probably on the bad end of some kind of business, and this is how she's having to pay it off.
You ever?
Hardly ever the person who's buying it isn't a bad guy. They're always, well, I'm assuming that they're, getting forced to do it or pressured into it somehow or leveraged into it.
It's not typically anybody that's trying to commit a crime, and a lot of them don't, like you said, they don't realize it. It's just somebody that thinks they're doing something to help out somebody. My boyfriend or my girlfriend or my buddy or my dad asked me to go get this, and they have no idea what they're doing is a federal offense.
Oh yeah, definitely. Almost never. I would say that sometimes they knew, and it was just like, they got nothing else to do because they know they're not going to get in trouble. Like, you can go in and try and get, their person's going to say no, and then they're not calling the police on you. So they could probably go around on a Saturday and just do that all day, and then look what prey on like the new employees or something. Sell them something. That must happen because otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. But that's what it seemed like, is like knowledgeable people that would scam.
Did you ever watch the G. Gordon Liddy back in the 90s, that radio show?
I've listened to J. Gordon Liddy, but long.
He used to always say, I can't own a firearm because I have a felony from the Nixon administration, but my wife has a damn fine collection.
Yep. Back when I used to listen to that shit is too, like, it was like in the 90s or some shit. So I was like, it was like, huh, that son of a bitch.
You ever get a call from state police when you were running a background check?
What?
I had a guy come in the one time. He was trying to buy a rifle. He was from Ohio, which we were allowed to sell the gun to him because for policy we couldn't sell to anybody that wasn't from like Ohio or West Virginia. Because they had like just state border rules and stuff for whatever reason. And but so this guy comes in, he's from Ohio, and he gives me his ID, all that fun jazz. I call the NIC system, and notice I'm on NIC's hold with them for a while. I was like, sorry, it must just be a busy day, and I'm sitting there, and then I hear over the speaker, firearms line 2. So I pick up line 2, and I'm thinking Nick's system's going to come back and give me the friggin' approval number for this guy, and I'm going to miss it. And they're like, "Hey, you have a so-and-so there?" I'm like, "Uh-huh." They're like, "This is the state police. Keep him there. We got 3 cruisers en route now."
Oh, really?
Oh, shit. Turns out the guy he had multiple felony warrants over Ohio. And he was trying to buy a gun, and Nick's system kicked him right over to state police. And I was shitting at that point, because I'm like, yep, we got the kayaks and stuff like that. And the cop's like, I like how you think, good cover. And he gets off the phone, and I go back to the call. I'm like, I don't know why anybody else couldn't get that, but friggin' ask about kayaks. And then state police show up, and he knew he was got. I was like, holy cow. That was like the most nerve-wracking 3 minutes of my life.
Yeah, I can't imagine them doing that. Holy shit, you could probably have a fit about it if but that's cool. Was the guy like some like giant crazy looking psycho, or was he just some like little meek looking guy that you would never think was a bad guy?
He just looked like your everyday guy. I mean, you wouldn't expect anything. Just turned out he had multiple felony warrants in Ohio.
Interesting. So we never had anything like that I know of. Like I say, I wasn't there every day, but I think they said something crazy like that. I don't know if they would expect, because they don't know when they're calling you if you're like able, or if you're like, hey man, I'm just watching this place while that guy's at lunch. Like, I don't know what this is all about. But crazy. I only have one story from 4473s that I don't like. I don't really feel like telling it here. I'll tell it off here. But it's nothing that's like super drama compared to mine. Mine was just enough to make me like angry and annoyed and super scared. I don't ever want to fill out 4473. Right. Other people do that. You don't realize it when you're doing it because it's just part of your job or whatever. But it's a federal form, so it's not like you're never like sat down and said, hey, you're filling out federal forms, so guess what? Like for the rest of your life, I guess technically whatever you were involved with here and everybody who you ever interact with, it's just that kind of shit. So
yeah.
I would have rather never done any. For a long time, I didn't do it. Like I was like, hey, I'm not really here, so I don't need to do these. Like I don't need to know the laws or the rules or whatever. Like I'm just helping. Like I can be like that extra guy that doesn't really, he's kind of like useless. And they allowed me to do that because they didn't really need another person to deal with all that shit. But after a while, I did start doing them, and it was really no big deal. But like I said, big picture or whatever, I think I'd rather have never done it.
Yeah, because I mean, when you look back, for 20 years, your name's sitting on that form with whoever bought that gun.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they say, after 20 years, they just turn them over to the ATF and they're disposed of properly. But I don't buy that for a second.
They're not disposed of. They're just putting these cargo containers.
Yeah.
You can dispose of them properly, though. And that's what hopefully gun shops do, but we don't know if they're wasting their time with it. But I think after 20 years, or like you're saying, a gun shop is allowed to say, okay, we've had them long enough. Now we're destroying them. Like we're destroying ours. But I don't know how many shops have been around for 20 years, and of the ones that have been around for 20 years, how many bother to do that? Because I don't know if there's any, it's like for privacy, there's no like real reason to do that.
Yeah, because I thought they were required to, after the 20 years, send them into the ATF still.
No, that's only if they go out of business. I think that's only if they go out of business. Like if you're just minding your business and you got them and it's like it's reached the limit or whatever, then.
Well, my local shop, he's halfway there. He's been open for about 10 years now, so. Fingers crossed that, everything keeps going well for him, because that's my go-to shop.
Well, you figure if a shop can get through this,
I walk in.
can't imagine too many other crazy things that could happen after this.
Yeah, I try and go in there probably twice a month or so, whether it's to pick something up or I'll just go in, see what he's got. Might put something on layaway because I'm bothered. But I walk in there, he knows who I am. Hey, how you doing? And he knows what I'm looking for in general.
Now you're breaking up.
It's
I don't know.
nice.
Because wheelchair.
But he said he's been doing great business, and he promotes.
You were breaking up pretty good, and then you kicked out. So I don't know if that's your connection or if it's my connection.
It is probably me. But yeah, his distributors from I was talking to him when I picked up that 329 PD. He said his distributors have been great. He's been having no problem getting ammo. He's still well stocked on guns and stuff. I keep hearing about all these shops that are sold out of everything. You know, you're lucky to go in there and just find the obscure ammo boxes, you know, like a 41 mag or something weird like that. And like I said, he's got no problem stocking ammo. He's got plenty of guns in stock, and like that 329 PD that I ordered, it got there in 5 days after he ordered it. And say whoever he's using has been on the ball.
Well, you've been in a shop then. So the shop that you were at, did you ever deal with the ordering or anything?
No.
But you were around when they were ordering it all, I mean? Or is that all taking place too?
Well, like I said, because I worked for a local sporting goods store. So they say that they're the largest sporting goods store on the East Coast. So take that for whatever, I don't know. But what they would actually do is order everything into a giant DC, from what I understand. And then as things would sell at the store, they would replenish the stores then. So the store managers didn't even get to order the firearms. Corporate would decide what was needed or what wasn't.
Okay. So, well, I was just going to say, when you are in there dealing with the ordering or whatever, you got your Lipsies and your RSR and your, I don't know how many of them are anymore, but the distributors that the regular gun shops, the local gun shop is going to deal with. And I don't know, there's like the reps that you have with them. There's your time on the clock, just in general that you've had with that company or whatever. And that'll determine, when a new product comes out, if you're first in line or if you're fifth in line or whatever. And some of that is based on like how much you order or how long you've known this guy, if you go bowling with the guy or if you've never dealt with him out of work, before. So I've been into some, I guess at Wanamaker. Yeah, I was at Wanamaker one time. I ended up hanging out with people. I went to Wanamaker a couple of times, like without gun channels and all that, like just go into the show as a person. And I didn't have any money, so I would go with people from Tucson and help them like run their table or whatever. So the people I know that go to these gun shows all the damn time know other people that go to gun shows all the damn time. So they would like, have dinner or whatever. And that's where I've seen some of the insight to like what I'm talking about, where the distributors will, I don't know, maybe they go hunting with somebody or something. They've known them their whole lives or some shit. So when a new gun comes out, even if it's a little dinky shop, or maybe it's not even like that they've known each other. It's just that that's a good shop and they've been a good business partner for a while. So when that new gun comes out, they get them, even though they're not the biggest shop in town or the most sales or in time or whatever, So who knows what all those like little details are.
Yeah, like I said, he's been around for about 10 years now, so I'm sure he's built up some good relationships with the sales reps and whatnot. I actually thought about asking him if he needed any help around the shop. Obviously, I can't really check out anybody's 4473s or anything, but figured, if he needs an extra body behind the counter, I can say, hey, what do you want to see? And just have people tell me, all right, it's on the third shelf down, and then over, that one.
I would say it's worth talking because you never know. Especially, don't talk yourself out of it, because if that guy's sitting there going, man, I wish I could find somebody to, just to help out with XYZ or something. You never know.
Yep. I mean, he seems like he's been getting, since he moved locations this past year, I think I told you, but he used to run it out of his garage at his house, and then him and his wife sold their house and bought a different one, and that one actually had in it what he can actually use as a storefront built on the property also. So he actually's got a lot more space now and things like that, and he's actually got a couple extra people hired on. But like I said, I figured it would give me something to do. I can go in, bundle some guns, and I don't need them to pay me or anything. So
yeah, well, tell him, ask if he can work for a discount or some shit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Even if he, throws me 5 or 10% off on a gun when I pick it up, then cool.
Dude, if you're working there, he'll probably just let you buy stuff at cost. So most places,
that'd be pretty. That would be really bad for me.
where you get to buy stuff once in a while, but more importantly, you're not going to be buying stuff willy-nilly because you'll be able to see stuff, and then you won't buy it. Like as soon as I started working at shops, like my interest in dumb new guns has diminished a lot. Like I don't,
say
fun looking at them and figuring them out. If you can look at them and figure them out on somebody else's time, you're getting paid to look at it, then there's no reason to own it.
Yeah, some of the problem for me would be people that come in with trade-ins or just some of the used ones that he gets in. Like a while back, you and I had talked about 44 Magnum Ruger Blackhawk that he had in stainless with the 8-inch barrel, unfluted cylinder on all that. If I was working there, that wouldn't even have time to hit the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have been like, yep, that's mine.
It depends, because most places aren't going to be like, hey, come work for me and help out a little bit. And then every time something good comes in, you buy it, so I can't make any profit at all. And I can't have anything cool on my shelf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More of the opposite. More like I would definitely get to be able to take pictures or whatever cool came in. And
well, even if I wasn't getting a discount or anything, even if it was.
But then if it's around, but like I didn't get to grab the cool. Like one time I bought a Spaz 12. It's the same thing. Like it came in, and I had not been wearing out my welcome, so I was like, oh damn, let me buy that. And the dude's like, sure, no problem. So I buy it, and then I pretty much bought it at like 5 p.m. I owned it overnight, and then by opening the next day, he's like, bring that back because the boss is fucking freaking out. Like he wanted that stuff. And I'm like, all right. So I brought it back and I owned it for like, an evening. But that was seriously enough, because as soon as I owned it, I was like, I'd rather not own this $800 stupid shotgun. Like they don't want it.
Yep.
Like, it's neat. I'll go fiddle with it. I wish it would have stuck around the store longer so I could have played with it. But I didn't want to own an $800 giant shotgun that's huge. It's like owning an old-fashioned semi-truck. It's kind of neat, but who wants to park that anywhere? Who needs it? Nobody. You're not going to use it because you'll break it. It's only neat to look at, and that means you got to have like all that room and everything to just keep a gun from getting scratched on.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't typically go in and haggle my gun shops or anything, just because I know they work on really low oh crap.
Markup.
Yeah. Anyways, and so yeah, I don't like. I'll haggle pretty much anybody except for my local gun shops, because I want them to stick around. I want them to stay in business. Like whenever I talk to people, like my uncle and my cousin, they constantly go into gun shops and they'll look around and they'll eat up an hour of somebody's time. And I'm like, buy a box of ammo. You're in there, you're eating up the guy's time. Buy a box of ammo because you're going to need it eventually anyways. But this way, while you're eating up that guy's time, and he could have been maybe selling a gun to this person, and he's trying to help you, and you seem like you're interested in it, and you're not going to buy anything that day. As like, it goes a long way.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
So, but that might be another reason why he's gotten to know me so well, because he knows that if I walk into the shop, I'm spending money somehow. It might not be on a new gun, but even if I'm picking up a brick of 22s, I'm still walking out of there with something and leaving some money in his pocket. It's like when everybody was mad that Walmart stopped selling pistol ammo, I'm like, okay, why be mad? Go to your local shops and get it there. Because you can't save $2 a box. Because I think it's only a matter of time. Eventually, Walmart is going to stop selling guns, and that means no more ammo, no more guns, no more accessories. I mean, I don't know how deep they would get into the accessories part, but if they're not selling the guns and stuff, why would they sell accessories for them?
Because they're in there to make money. So,
Yeah.
2013, they stopped selling AR-15s and guns, depending on where it was.
Yep.
All these companies, especially Walmart, virtue signal, they understand just as good as anybody that the antis are not committed. They don't care about lives at all. They care about the political exploitation that they have, and they know that, just like the antis that do it, they know that that's got a time frame or whatever. So there's been more times than that, but in 15, when it happened with an AR-15, and they were super concerned, super worried about it, they removed them from stores and then slowly, quietly put them back. Not every store, but at the stores where nobody would complain really. And then that also sets them up, because if they just literally remove them from stores, next time something comes along, they can't say, hey, I'm virtue signaling, right? So by putting them back into stores, now the next time it comes around, they can virtue signal and say, hey, we removed them from our stores. We pulled them from shelves, knowing that they're going to put them back on it again. But so I hear you, but I wouldn't be too discouraged, because I don't think they're going to get rid of, just like they're not going to get rid of car parts. Unless something seriously changes, I don't think they're not interested in losing that sure money. It's like fishing, they can have that section of the store. So
yeah, I don't know. I think back to all these other stores that used to have guns and things like that. Like I remember when I say Kmart was actually going to be the first one I let off with. I remember growing up, we go there, we get our hunting licenses. You can get a new hunting rifle or shotgun, whatever the heck you wanted. And then they moved them from where they were in the store to the very back of the store in this little corner where, I mean, if you didn't know that they moved them there, you really didn't go back in that corner of the store.
No, you're right.
And then slowly they were just gone. And like, even look at what's that?
Well, I hear you. I just think that it could just easily go the other way, where everybody gets fed up with all this like nanny business garbage and decides, nah. And then things like firearms and Walmarts are the kind of stuff that they bring back and the virtue signal the other way. As soon as people are sick of it, Walmart's going to be the first to say, yeah, we're sick of it too. We're putting guns back in our stores. What do you think about that? You know?
Yeah, which would be great.
I'm not saying I'm not saying the default is it's going to go back to that, but at least that's something that we can work towards, and I think that would happen.
But yeah, I just, yeah, like I said, that'd be great. I just look at it, you know, because like you got like Dick's that completely remove firearms, and then they've got a sister company called Field and Stream. I don't know if you guys have any of those out your way, but we've got them all over the place here. And they made the Field and Stream because they still wanted to sell guns because they didn't want to lose the money. So they did that one more just outdoors, obviously by the name. And they were selling ARs and everything else again. And after the Las Vegas shooting, they pulled ARs and any AR accessories, the whole 9 yards, from the shelves again. Now that store still, that chain still sells firearms, but they pulled all ARs. I was actually talking to one of the workers after it all happened, and I was like, "So what do you think?" And he bit his bottom lip, and he's like, with his bottom lip bit, he said, "I'm not allowed to say." I was like, I understand. I was like, obviously, you know, they don't want you guys commenting your political views or anything like that, but, and I don't know, I like to be able to know that I've got that local shop that is pro 2A, and I don't have to worry about every time a tragedy happens, you know, are they going to pull something off?
Oh no, I definitely agree with you there. I'm sure.
And if that costs me, you know, $2 or $3 extra every box of ammo, or, you know, even 20 or 30 bucks more for a new firearm, which, I mean, forget new firearms. How about all the great used firearms that you can pick up? Like, my uncle finally convinced me to go back into that shop that I had told you I had the bad experience with a couple of years ago.
Right.
And since then, I've bought. The prices are finally getting better, for one, which I was actually surprised about. But I don't know if it's just because he remodeled the entire store and now he's trying to bring a lot of capital back in to make up for it. So he's lowered the prices, so he's moving product quicker or what. But picked up a Montgomery Ward's Western Field double barrel 16 gauge side by side, and then I just laid away a 300 Savage 99E hunting rifle, which I already have a 300 Savage 1899 that I got from my grandfather, which he got from his grandfather. But I figured to take some of the workload off that, because that gun, I just did a serial number lookup on it, and it says it was made in 1918 or later. And that's because Savage had a big fire decades ago, and they lost all those records. But apparently somebody did some homework and made this serial number lookup. But I'm thinking probably around 1920 or 1921 is when this gun was made. But it's absolute tax driver still. And I was like, if that one's still a tax driver, this one that I just found is going to be awesome also, and I can use it to try and take some of the workload off of the heirloom. But it's, you know, it's nice to have those options. It's like even when I do barbecue stuff, I'll go in, and I've got a couple different local markets that aren't, Walmart and GFS and all that I go to for my meats when I'm doing a big party or something. And they've offered me discounts, and I'm not really doing the barbecue stuff for the money or anything. Heck, a lot of times it's just family and friends, and I'll just say, well, you pay for the meat, and we'll hammer out the rest of the stuff later. And I'm not making nearly the money that I could off of it, but so I'll go into these markets and they'll offer me discounts, and I'm like, I'd much rather you guys, if you want to put it on sale when I'm picking it up that day, that's awesome. I'd appreciate that. But any further discount, trying to, wholesale price me or anything like that, I was like, I don't want that. I was like, I want you guys to stick around, because if these little markets went out of business where I'm getting this quality meat from, I lose that resource, and now I've got to go to somewhere like Walmart or GFS, and I don't feel like I get the same quality meat.
There's no way. Hangabouts can be annoying when they pipe up. I don't know what that one is. I missed something. Unless he means just people in gun shops. Is that what he's talking about when we were talking about gun shops?
What's that? I didn't hear what the question was.
Hangabouts can be annoying when they pipe up over employees.
Oh, I think he's talking about shop rats, that you're sitting there and you're talking to somebody, say you're selling them a Glock, and you're like, well, it's this, and then they pipe in, like, you really don't want that plastic gun, do you?
Yeah, exactly. Those people are definitely out there. They show up. It's weird things.
Yeah. I was actually just watching NEPA Gun Talk, or I think his channel's called, yesterday, and he's talking about, he was at a local shop, and he said the guy that was buying the gun appeared to be a newbie, and the guy behind the counter says, if you have to pull that gun, you shoot him twice in the chest and once in the head. And I was like, that's one of the few times I think I had to interject and be like, that might not be the best information that you're giving that guy.
What'd they tell you?
It wasn't me. Northeast PA Gun Talk or Gunner or something like that is the YouTuber that had made the video on it, but he said he didn't interject himself at all. He just let the guy go.
So he would have said.
What's that?
Like what he would have said, kind of.
He was just making the video on what the guy was telling the guy, and how he wasn't too keen on it, and I left a comment. I was like, I'm just kind of a dick like this, but I would have inserted myself into that one. Like, I like to stay out of everything when I'm at the gun shop, unless I hear some ridiculous information be given, something that's going to possibly get somebody into legal trouble, or just put them in an unsafe situation. But otherwise, I shut up and stay out of it, because it's, it's not my business. It's not my stuff to get involved with. But yeah, it's just, and I'm sure part of that would probably need subcontext. You know, what were they talking about before that? Where the guy is saying, you know, 2 in the chest, 1 in the head.
Always, yeah. At least that's something that you can omit, right? And tweak it to your narrative or whatever.
Yep.
All right, I thought I was gonna be able to get through this one, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to. So even though they don't take this long, even though these things don't take that long, this one's killing me. So my arm's killing me, and I haven't been yawning, but I haven't been drinking coffee either, so I'm slowly falling asleep here. I am going to wrap it up. We've been chatting for 3 hours. I had a pretty good chat tonight.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for joining in and helping me distract off of some of those books and stuff. Never fun. And yeah, thanks for showing up. There's a couple people still out there. And I was throwing stuff out there. We jumped in. Thanks for the $5. You all throw $5 around like it don't mean shit. Like that's a meal right there. It's like lunch. So, and I don't eat 3 meals a day. I eat once a day. So I do appreciate that. All right. Well, with all that, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll pick up later.